Chapter 745. Qin also hatefully stared at the back view of the man, after which she turned to Qin Feng and spoke. Qin Feng, you have to work hard and become the pillar of our Qin clan in the future. Qin Feng nodded heavily. Is he your biological uncle? Qin Wentian murmured. If they were a family, there shouldn't be a need to be so harsh, right? Nope, he is my father's cousin. Qin shook her head. I heard from Grandpa that in the past, my father and mother were the ones with the best talent in the clan. Hence, all the resources in the clan were given to my parents. At that time, this uncle of mine was already jealous of my father. And now, Qin Feng's talent is so good that most of the people of Great-Grandpa's generation have already left the clan. Grandpa has inherited the Qin clan, and doted on us a lot. Hence, his hatred grew even stronger, and he wanted nothing more than to chase Qin Feng away. Qin wanted to say something, but she hesitated. Her pure and beautiful countenance was filled with anger. Especially after the words of the man earlier, it was too hurtful. Big brother Qin, it's fine if he has designs on me. But what's even more hateful is that this man's heart is filthy. He didn't even spare Qin. After Qin grew up, she gradually became more and more beautiful. He actually introduced Qin to the celestial phenomenon ascendants outside the clan, and even fanned the flames in the clan. Qin Feng's anger was even more obvious. This caused Qin Wentian to furrow his brows. He didn't expect that as the uncle of Qin and Qin Feng, his heart would be so venomous. He didn't even spare young girls. You have to be careful of this man in the future. Don't come into contact with him in case you fall into his schemes. Qin Wentian persuaded. I've already fallen into his schemes. Back then there was a lecherous man in his 50s who took a fancy to Qin. He was extremely strong, and if it wasn't for my grandpa refusing, I'm afraid Qin would have already fallen into his schemes. Qin Feng was even more enraged when he thought of a certain matter. Sadly, his strength wasn't high enough, or he wouldn't have feigned civility with that man. If that man dared to have designs on Qin again, he would have already beaten him up. Qin Feng, forget it. Just be more careful in the future. Big brother Qin, please don't laugh at me. Qin was after all still a young girl. Qin, if there's something like this in the future, tell me. I'll help you. Qin Wentian smiled as he rubbed Qin's head. Qin didn't dodge. She just smiled sweetly at Qin Wentian and said, okay. If it was any other man who touched her head, Qin would definitely be angry, but she would not be angry with Qin Wentian. She could feel a kind of familial concern from his eyes. People could feel each other's feelings. Qin Wentian cared for her, and she also treated Qin Wentian as a big brother. Sadly, big brother Qin is too young. If he cultivated for a longer period of time, he would most probably already be a celestial phenomenon ascendant. Qin Feng looked at Qin Wentian and smiled. He had asked the old man about Qin Wentian's age before, and the old man said he was only in his 30s. Of course, he believed that the old man wouldn't be wrong. Silly little fellow. Qin Wentian smiled as he shook his head. He had taught him for so many days. Yet Qin Wentian still couldn't sense his own attainments. Was he no longer a heavenly dipper sovereign? However, Qin Wentian hadn't interacted much with celestial phenomenon ascendants. If he had interacted with them before, he would understand that many celestial phenomenon ascendants didn't have as deep a comprehension as Qin Wentian's teachings. His grandfather knew this, but since Qin Wentian didn't say anything, his grandfather didn't tell Qin Wentian either. In any case, it wouldn't be wrong to let Qin Feng and Qin learn from Qin Wentian. The Amorsi's residence was the largest casino in the worry-free city. They would only gamble once every 7 days. Yet they still dared to call themselves the largest. This was because every time they gambled, they would bet on immortal-ranked treasures. The Sky Demon Oracle Bone was a material that could be used to forge immortal-ranked divine weapons, and was extremely valuable. A complete set of Sky Demon Oracle Bone was worth far more than an ordinary immortal-ranked divine weapon. Although the worry-free city was vast, it was extremely rare for immortal-ranked treasures to appear. The Amorsi's residents would only gamble once every 7 days, hence, they naturally could be considered the largest casino in the worry-free city. In addition, the Amorsi's residence wasn't just located in the worry-free city. There were countless cities in the entire Cloud Prefecture that had immortalized residences. This was an extremely powerful power, and it was rumored that the master of the immortalized residence was a supreme expert at the Immortal King realm. The immortalized residence in the worry-free city was extremely vast. It was a palace that spanned the entire length of the Cloud Prefecture. It was extremely majestic, and there were experts guarding the stairway leading up to it. At this moment, several experts came to the immortalized residence, ascending the stairway and stepping into the immortalized residence. Qin Wentian also arrived at this place. Although there were guards here, no one obstructed him. He directly ascended the staircase and saw that there were already several experts gathered outside the palace. All of them were here to register for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. All for the sake of the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. There are so many people. Qin Wentian swept his gaze over. Today was the registration day, and at the same time, the details of the gambling battle would be announced, allowing those who came here to decide if they wanted to participate or not. Outside the majestic palace, there were over 1,000 people waiting. There were people of all ages, and the majority of them were at the Celestial Phenomenon realm. There were originally very few Immortal Foundation experts in the worry-free city, hence it wasn't easy to see one. Seems like there are quite a number of people here to join in the fun. However, there are at least several hundred who came here for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone, and not everyone has arrived yet. The number of participants this time around could easily exceed 100. Qin Wentian silently mused. This meant that the immortalized residents would be able to earn at least 9 times the amount they spent on this gambling battle. At this moment, a commotion broke out in the crowd. Many turned and stared at a group of silhouettes as they whispered to each other. It's Luo. Han Luo is actually interested in the Sky Demon Oracle Bone? Could it be that his father sent him here? If young Master Luo really wants to participate in this gambling battle, I'm afraid I would have no chance at all. I might as well not go and waste it. Someone mused. The immortalized residents wouldn't be able to win every time. There would be times when they would lose money. Such situations were extremely rare. For example, there were several extremely famous characters participating in the gambling battle, causing others to give up willingly. The son of the governor of the worry-free city, Han Luo, was undoubtedly an existence that could cause others to give up. Han Luo was a battle maniac, and his father was the governor of a city. His authority was on par with the city lord, and he was an existence that could keep the city lord in check. Yuyan, you are indeed here. Han Luo's gaze turned to a certain person as he walked to the side of that person. At this moment, the gazes of the crowd turned over, only to see a beautiful young lady with an outstanding demeanor. Before this, many people had already noticed her. She could be considered an extremely outstanding existence among the crowd. It was very hard for people not to notice her. Yuyan, it's Zhao Yuyan. Someone exclaimed in shock. This young lady was actually Zhao Yuyan. They should have long guessed it. With the appearance of the Sky Demon Oracle Bone, as the heaven chosen of the Golden Armor sect, how could Zhao Yuyan not appear? Zhao Yuyan's master is the supreme elder of the Golden Armor sect, a leading character in the weaponsmithing world of the worry-free city. Most probably, Zhao Yuyan is determined to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle Bone no matter what. Maybe this might be a test given to her by her master. Everyone mused silently. Since 2 outstanding characters from the worry-free city have arrived, it seemed like this gambling battle was going to be extremely difficult. Qin Wentian's hearing was extremely good. Although many people were speaking in low voices, they couldn't escape his ears. Very soon, he knew the identities of these 2. If the Qin clan could be said to be an ordinary clan, then the backgrounds of these 2 could be said to be the most illustrious in the worry-free city. In addition, their fame was also extremely great as well. Seems like the competition for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone would be extremely intense. It wouldn't be easy to obtain it. Haha, Han Luo, aren't you talking nonsense? With the appearance of the Sky Demon Oracle Bone, how could Yuyan not appear? At this moment, a carefree voice drifted over. Another group of figures walked over, and the person in the lead was also very young. His gaze landed on Zhao Yuyan and Han Luo as he smiled. Yuyan, I knew you would appear. Hence, I intentionally rushed over. Jiangfeng, Seems like things are going to get lively. Jiang Feng has been chasing after Zhao Yuyan relentlessly for so many years, but he still hasn't succeeded. Zhao Yuyan is a heaven chosen of the Golden Armor sect. Not only is she powerful in terms of combat prowess, she also has attainments in weaponsmithing. In addition to her beauty, how can a woman like her not be welcomed? Zhao Yuyan emotionlessly glanced at Jiang Feng and ignored him. However, Jiang Feng wasn't angry. He only stared at Han Luo with a hint of enmity in his eyes. At this moment, the attendants of the Amorsi's residence walked out from the Great Hall ahead. The signboard at the side of the Great Hall displayed the price of the bet. After glancing at it, the crowd nodded their heads in approval. How fair! The price was roughly 1/10 of a Sky Demon Oracle bone. One could directly pay in yuan meteor stones, or use other treasures of equivalent value as a substitute. However, the crowd was still waiting for the Amorsi's residents to decide the details of the bet. Only then would they be able to weigh the odds and decide if they wanted to participate or not. At this moment, another expert walked out and announced, "This bet is a formation battle. The final victor shall obtain the Sky Demon Oracle bone." Formation battle? Seems like there's still hope. A glimmer of hope flashed in the eyes of some. A formation battle was a battle within a formation diagram. There was strength as well as luck. If one's luck was good, they would be able to obtain the support of a powerful formation, and there was a high possibility that they would be able to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle bone. Formation battle, I love it the most. At this moment, a demonic voice drifted over. The crowd only saw a young man walking over as a sense of unease appeared in their hearts. He actually came here as well. In that case, the chances of them obtaining the Sky Demon Oracle bone would shrink even further. However, there were also many who didn't waver. An example was an old man in black. His eyes gleamed with coldness. This time around, he was determined to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle bone no matter what. No matter who appeared, they wouldn't be able to snatch it away. Another example was a young man with eyes as red as blood. He exuded a baleful aura, causing the people in the surroundings to not dare to get close to him. There were many capable people in the immortal realms, and none of them were existences that were easy to antagonize. Those who would be scared off by them were originally the weaker ones. I want the Sky Demon Oracle bone. Who wants to compete with me? The demonic young man who arrived later directly walked through the crowd and arrived at the entrance of the Great Hall. He turned his head and swept a glance at the crowd before simply standing there, causing many to pause as they furrowed their brows. Chapter 746. Xieyu, this place is the Amorsi's residence. We won't compete with you. Why don't you directly ask the Amorsi's residents to give you the Sky Demon Oracle bone? Wouldn't that be better? Han Luo stared at the evil-looking young man blocking the entrance as he coldly spoke. Xieyu, the only son of the female city lord of the worry-free city. His father was a hegemon of a particle world, an immortal foundation expert. His true form was that of a demonic beast and was extremely tyrannical. Back then when he broke out of his particle world and came to the immortal realms, he subdued the worry-free city lord and made her his wife. She gave birth to a son which was none other than this Xieyu. In addition, Xieyu had inherited the talent of his parents and was extremely powerful. Those who dared to antagonize him were most probably only those immortal-ranked powers. An example was the Golden Armor sect that Zhao Yuyan was in. The Golden Armor sect had an immortal foundation expert, and in a city, such a power could be considered a peak power. There was also Jiang Feng who was wooing Zhao Yuyan. He was the young master of the Fall Kill sect and was extremely powerful. Naturally, as the son of a governor, Han Luo and the son of the worry-free city lord, Xieyu, were two people who didn't get along. Han Luo, I'm only asking who wants to compete with me. If you want to compete, I won't object. Xieyu's eyes flashed with an evil light as a faint golden light flickered within, giving off a baleful aura. His father was a berserk demon immortal, and he had inherited the demonic blood of his father. He was extremely dangerous and savage. As he spoke, Xieyu's gaze swept past the others, pausing on Zhao Yuyan for a moment. His eyes gleamed with an evil light, causing Zhao Yuyan to frown, feeling somewhat unhappy with the way Xieyu was looking at her. Xieyu stepped down. A voice rang out from the great hall. Xiaoyu stared at the person who came over and smiled. After which he retreated. The expert from the Amorsize residence spoke. Okay, everyone can pay the yuan meteor stones or other treasures of equivalent value. The gambling battle will commence 3 days later. The location of the gambling battle would be in the vast space before the great hall of the Amorsize residence. The people of the worry-free city could spectate. Han Luo was the first to step out, followed by Zhao Yuyan, Jiang Feng and the rest. Xiaoyu's threat seemed to have some effect. Although many people were tempted, they were hesitant. But ultimately, there were still over 100 participants who chose to participate. Naturally, Qin Wentian was one of them. He had to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle Bone no matter what. After Qin Wentian signed up, he silently departed alone. This place wasn't the royal sacred region. There basically wouldn't be anyone who would recognize a minor character like him who just arrived in the immortal realms. When he left the Amorsize residence, Han Luo also curiously cast a glance at Qin Wentian. After all, Qin Wentian looked very young and had an extraordinary demeanor, yet he was exceptionally low profile. Naturally, Han Luo didn't pay much attention to him. After returning to the Qin clan, Qin Feng saw Qin Wentian returning. He then spoke to Qin Qing. Qin, Big Brother Qin seems to be very busy. Big Brother Qin naturally has his own matters to attend to. Do you think it's so simple to come to the immortal realms from a particle world? He definitely has to work hard in his cultivation. Qin Qing spoke in a low voice. Qin Wentian bade farewell to them and entered his room to cultivate. For the next few days he went out every day, occasionally giving pointers to Qin Feng and chatting with Qin Qing. It seemed like he was getting busier and busier. They had no idea what Qin Wentian was doing. Today Qin Wentian went out again. Qin Feng and Qin Qing were chatting when Qin Feng spoke. I heard that the Amorsize residence is going to hold an important gambling battle today. They took out a Sky Demon Oracle Bone, and the participants are Xiaoyu, Han Luo, Zhao Yuyan, Jiang Feng and the others. I really want to go take a look. It's just that it's a little far away from us. Zhao Yuyan is participating in the gambling battle as well. Qin Qing naturally knew of the names of these people. Although the worry-free city was vast, there were very few immortal-ranked powers here. These powers were the focus of attention of the entire worry-free city. The geniuses of these immortal-ranked powers were naturally heard of by the people of the worry-free city. Zhao Yuyan's talent was outstanding, and she was also a genius weaponsmith. She was the idol of many females, including Qin Qing. That's right. Xiaoyu and Han Luo are going to clash again. I wonder which of them would be able to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle Bone this time around. If only I was also a celestial phenomenon ascendant, I would be able to rush over to spectate this gambling battle. Qin Feng spoke with some disappointment. The difference in speed between Yuan Fu and celestial phenomenon ascendants was tens of millions. To Immortal Foundation experts, the worry-free city was very small. To celestial phenomenon ascendants, it was ordinary, but to Yuan Fu experts, it was boundlessly vast. Qin Feng had never left the worry-free city before. From here to the Amorsize residence, if Qin Feng traveled by himself, he didn't know how long it would take. Outside the ancient hall of the Amorsize residence, there were many spectators who came to spectate the gambling battle. The crowd stared ahead. There was a formation diagram floating in the air. This formation diagram was able to manifest a formation dimension. It was an immortal ranked treasure that could form a world of its own. The so-called formation battle referred to the battle within the formation dimension. There were countless mysteries within the formation dimension. One would be able to gain the support of the formation and grow stronger. This time around, the reason why the gambling battle was conducted within the formation diagram should have something to do with the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. The Sky Demon Oracle Bone was an extremely precious treasure for weaponsmithing. Naturally, weaponsmithing experts would be proficient in divine inscriptions and formations as well. In this case, even if one was weaker in terms of combat prowess, their proficiency in formations would be able to make up for it. Xiaoyu, Han Luo, Jiang Feng and Zhao Yuyan stood at the front. The gazes of the crowd were all focused on them. These four were the ones with the highest hopes of obtaining the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. This was especially so for Zhao Yuyan. Her talent wasn't merely in terms of combat prowess. One talisman for each of you. Once you crush it, the energy of the formation would be activated. If you don't ignite it in time and die within the formation dimension, you will have to bear the consequences yourself. Also, for the sake of fairness, no one is allowed to use divine weapons or treasures within the formation dimension. After the experts from the Amorsi's residence verified the identities of these people, they started to give each of them a talisman. This talisman could be used to escape if they were defeated. Okay, all of you can enter the formation dimension. You will all appear in different locations. After distributing the talismans, the experts from the Amorsi's residence spoke to the crowd. After which, the crowd all stepped out, entering the formation dimension. The formation diagram in the air radiated resplendent light, directly enveloping the crowd within it. In just an instant, a world within the formation dimension appeared before the eyes of the crowd. At this moment, Qin Wentian appeared within the formation dimension. He stood on the ground as his perception instantly radiated outwards. Within his perception, he could see several silhouettes flashing rapidly. They didn't rush towards the others, but were searching for the support of the formation dimension. Before this, Qin Wentian had naturally already inquired about the situation of the formation dimension. He knew that there were many methods to support one's strength within the formation dimension. His silhouette instantly flickered as well. A raging wind gusted by, and an instant later, Qin Wentian stood at a certain location. Stepping out, runes of light flashed as a resplendent armor directly covered his body. Divine inscriptions circulated around it, resembling a true armor that contained a terrifying amount of energy. Since I can't move, I can only wait for death. It's useless. Qin Wentian directly gave up and continued fleeing. Very swiftly, he saw a silver bow floating in the air. The bow isn't bad. Qin Wentian's silhouette explosively shot out, transforming into a beam of light. In another direction, there was another person similarly rushing towards the bow. This person was none other than an old man with a cultivation base at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon, stronger compared to him. Busy. A golden light flashed as a pair of wings appeared on Qin Wentian's back. He transformed into a beam of golden light as he directly grabbed towards the bow. Impudent. That old man from afar grabbed out with his palm as his arm expanded to 1,000 meters in length, smashing towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian abruptly changed directions as demonic qi towered up the skies. It was as though he had transformed into a true great rock as he sped away, not daring to clash head-on with that old man. Boom! That expert took great strides as he chased after Qin Wentian. Both of their speeds were extremely fast. Yet Qin Wentian directly pulled the bowstring, infusing a terrifying fusion of true intents into it. Abruptly, he turned and shot an arrow towards that expert who was chasing after him. Pung pung pung. The space around them seemed as though it was about to be pierced through by that arrow. That old man who was chasing after Qin Wentian abruptly halted his steps. He stared at Qin Wentian's departing back, and didn't continue his pursuit. The amplification of this bow isn't bad. It's considered a low-grade 5th-rank divine weapon, and is able to raise my attack by 1 level. If it's used by 4th-level ascendants and above, I'm afraid it wouldn't be of much use. Qin Wentian silently mused as he continued fleeing. On the way here, he didn't clash with those he met, choosing to directly evade them. In the end, he would be the only one remaining. What's the point of fighting now? Among those who participated in this gambling battle, his cultivation base could be considered one of the weaker ones. His cultivation base was only at the 2nd level of celestial phenomenon. Naturally, it wouldn't be wrong for him to keep a low profile. For a formation battle, the further the battle progressed, the more powerful the treasures and formations that appeared would be. For those with lower cultivation bases, it would be more advantageous. For example, a low-grade 5th-rank treasure would be useless to experts at the upper 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. However, he was the exact opposite of Qin Wentian. Xiaoyu was incomparably tyrannical the moment he entered the formation dimension. He who was at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon directly activated his slaughter mode, killing as he went, kicking his opponents out. He even obtained a winged treasure that could augment his speed, allowing him to soar through the air above the formation dimension. When he saw someone, he would instantly swoop down. Those weaker ones didn't even have the time to crush the formation talismans, and were directly killed by him. Xiaoyu and Han Luo are both at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. Their killing methods are extremely powerful, and no one could block them. Even ordinary 6th level ascendants wouldn't be a match for them. And among those who participated this time around, there were only a few 7th level ascendants. That black-robed old man is extremely powerful, at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon. Jiang Feng, Zhao Yuyan, both of them are extremely powerful. And at the end, Zhao Yuyan's advantage would only grow even greater. Who is that fellow? He's so shameless, evading every time he meets someone. Such a person would actually waste his Yuan meteor stones to participate in the gambling battle? Someone noticed Qin Wentian as he spoke with suspicion. This was purely a waste of resources. There would only be one victor in the gambling battle. There was no use in evading. Still evading? How good at evading? The spectators couldn't help but to be speechless when they saw Qin Wentian evading again. And as time flowed by very swiftly, there were only 40+ participants left in the formation dimension. That fellow who's proficient in escaping is actually still here. How speechless. As the number of participants decreased, Qin Wentian's fame grew. Every time he chose to evade, he would naturally attract the attention of the spectators. Jiang Feng, that fellow actually entered Jiang Feng's territory. He's finished. At this moment, many had expressions of joy on their faces. Jiang Feng discovered a treasure ground with a large area of effect, and Qin Wentian was about to enter his attack range. But at this moment, they saw Qin Wentian abruptly halting his steps as he turned and fled. Damn, isn't he too shameless? The spectators rolled their eyes. Jiang Feng has also sensed his existence and chased after him. Qin Wentian is dead for sure. Jiang Feng's speed is extremely fast. Within the formation dimension, Jiang Feng chased after Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian started to flee again, yet Jiang Feng's speed was extremely fast. He coldly snorted. Cowardly rat. Are you even worthy to participate in the formation battle? As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wentian abruptly stopped at the peak of a mountain. He did not continue to flee. Chapter 747. Jiang Feng stood in the air, staring disdainfully at Qin Wentian as a mocking expression flashed in his eyes. I let you escape the first time I met you. Now you still want to avoid a battle? Do you want to scram out yourself, or do you want me to kick you out? There was only one victor in a gambling battle. Was there any use in running away? Qin Wentian stared at Jiang Feng. He naturally could see through Jiang Feng's cultivation base. Jiang Feng was at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon, 2 levels higher than him. No wonder Jiang Feng dared to give up on the treasure ground to chase after him. Since you want to die, let me send you on your way then. Qin Wentian took out his bow. The spectators all had smiles on their faces. This shameless fellow was finally willing to fight head-on. Most probably, he knew he had no way to escape. Being kicked out by Jiang Feng wasn't too shameful. Jiang Feng's eyes flashed with coldness as he stared at Qin Wentian. Courting death. A terrifying destructive energy gushed forth from Jiang Feng. Resplendent astral light shone around him, transforming into terrifying spheres. The killing intent radiating from them caused the hearts of those who looked at him to tremble. Die. A cold light flickered in Qin Wentian's eyes. The arrow shot out explosively, causing a stifling pressure to fill the air as it shot towards Jiang Feng. Die. Jiang Feng coldly snorted. A beam of light akin to a shooting star descended from the skies, directly colliding with the arrow. A terrifying formless shockwave abruptly gushed forth, causing the meteor-like beam of light to halt in mid-air. After which, the arrow shot out with a deafening boom, destroyed together with it. Jiang Feng's countenance stiffened. After which, he saw 9 arrows shooting over at the same time. They were like 9 shooting stars as a fearsome might gushed forth, capable of suppressing everything. Jiang Feng's eyes flickered with astonishment. This was a type of energy formed from the fusion of many types of true intents. Those 9 beams of light covered the entire space, wanting to destroy everything. Their destructive power was extremely terrifying. Boom. Jiang Feng released his constellation as terrifying meteors rained down from the skies, aiming for the 9 arrows. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. The meteorites were constantly shattered. The 9 arrows were unstoppable. At this moment, Qin Wentian had already made his move. He left the mountain peak and walked towards Jiang Feng. Once again, his bow continued to shoot out terrifying arrows. Each arrow contained a destructive power that could destroy everything. A moment later, the crowd saw countless golden arrows flying towards Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng was exhausted from defending and had no strength to fight back. He was completely suppressed. This battle caused the crowd to be stunned. Qin Wentian had completely suppressed Jiang Feng with his bow and arrow. This made them feel that it was unreal. Jiang Feng's meteor-killing fist is extremely powerful. The crowd saw Jiang Feng once again unleash his meteor-killing fist. It was like a gigantic destructive meteor that could shatter everything, but it was all pierced through by the sharp arrow. Jiang Feng finally turned around and started to escape, fleeing towards the territory that he occupied. Is there any use in fleeing? Qin Wentian's voice drifted over from behind. After which, he drew his bow again but didn't shoot it out immediately. This time around, he infused the arrow with his strongest energy. The bowstring hummed as the arrow transformed into a beam of light, chasing after Jiang Feng. This arrow was truly capable of destroying everything. Jiang Feng's countenance turned pale. He directly took out a formation talisman and crushed it. With a flash of light, Jiang Feng's silhouette vanished from sight. The life-reaping arrow missed its target. The eyes of the spectators flickered unceasingly. Jiang Feng was chased out. Not only that, it was an overwhelming suppression. That bow and arrow must be extremely powerful. It must have augmented his attack power. Many people mused silently. Outside, Jiang Feng's silhouette appeared on the ground. His countenance was pale white and extremely unsightly to behold. He stared fixedly at Qin Wentian, who was within the formation diagram. This time around, he had truly lost too much face. This wasn't simply a matter of him not obtaining the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. It was also because he was blasted out by a second-level ascendant. So many people had personally witnessed how he had no way to retaliate and was completely suppressed. Bastard! Jiang Feng stared at Qin Wentian only to see Qin Wentian actually flying towards the treasure ground he occupied not long ago. Evidently, Qin Wentian lured him to death for the sake of that treasure ground. Qin Wentian wasn't trying to flee but was trying to lure him out. Evidently, he had fallen for Qin Wentian's trap, and was successfully lured to death by Qin Wentian. Within the formation dimension, Qin Wentian had already occupied the treasure ground Jiang Feng occupied not long ago. It was a divine inscription's grand formation, a giant formation. He tested the might of the formation, and it was sufficient to amplify his strength by 2 levels. Jiang Feng was in a hurry to seize the limelight and eliminate the others. Hence, he chose to pursue Qin Wentian. But Qin Wentian was different. His cultivation base was weaker, but he had to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle Bone no matter what. Hence, he chose to wait patiently within the formation dimension. Not long after, a 4th-level ascendant appeared before Qin Wentian. His eyes flickered as he stared at Qin Wentian. After which, he took a step forward and made a grabbing motion in the direction of Qin Wentian. Rumble! Qin Wentian instantly activated the formation dimension. Resplendent shadow runes flashed as an incomparably gigantic shadow actually appeared above Qin Wentian. This was none other than the shadow formed from Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian similarly made a grabbing motion in the air. That shadow's actions were exactly the same as Qin Wentian. Resplendent astral runes circulated around its gigantic palms as it smashed downwards like a millstone. With a thunderous boom, that person who appeared was directly slammed into the ground as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Get out! Qin Wentian roared. That person understood that Qin Wentian had shown mercy. Hence, he crushed the talisman and directly exited the area. How powerful could it be that he was concealing his strength? The spectators outside started to discuss. From the start, this person had always been shameless, but he suddenly became so domineering. There's nothing strange about it. His cultivation base is at the second level of celestial phenomenon, and he can be considered one of the more powerful geniuses at this level. The formation in that treasure ground can amplify the strength of an opponent by 2 levels. It's only normal for him to be able to destroy a 4th-level ascendant with a single strike. Jiang Feng coldly spoke. His arrows shouldn't be any weaker compared to this formation. Yet, he actually lured me out to fight. What a sinister fellow. Seems like luck is good and Jiang Feng was too careless. The spectators silently mused. Naturally, Qin Wentian still had the strength to back it up. His shameless tactics were indeed effective, but it was still impossible for him to walk all the way to the end. Only 13 people remain. How fast? The spectators stared at the formation dimension. That 7th-level ascendant black-robed young man was so powerful. There was also Xie Yu and Han Luo. All of them were extremely terrifying, and had already kicked many people out. Qin Wentian stood at his original location. He wasn't in a hurry. After that, no one else appeared before Qin Wentian, until only 9 people remained. Han Luo then started to move in the direction of Qin Wentian. This time around he's in deep trouble. Han Luo personally approached him, and right now, Han Luo still hasn't obtained a suitable divine weapon. Although he encountered the augmentation formation, he didn't rely on it to stay at his original location. Given his cultivation base and combat prowess, there's no need for that. Han Luo's cultivation base is at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. He should be able to fight evenly against 6th-level ascendants. Han Luo continued moving in the direction of Qin Wentian, and finally discovered Qin Wentian's existence. Very swiftly, he appeared in the airspace above Qin Wentian as an expression of bewilderment appeared on his face. Back then when Qin Wentian registered, he had already paid attention to him. To think that Qin Wentian hadn't been kicked out yet. Boom. Han Luo stepped out. His steps seemed to contain the force of millions of Jin, causing the entire space to tremble as a fearsome pressure bore down from the heavens, blasting towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian borrowed the augmentation from the formation. His gigantic shadow appeared once more as he blasted out with his palms, causing an explosive sound to echo out in the air. What a powerful pressure! Qin Wentian silently mused. After which, a terrifying rumbling sound rang out as Han Luo's body actually grew taller. His body that was over 10 meters tall resembled a primordial giant as he stared down at Qin Wentian with disdain. Step by step, he stomped downwards as a supreme pressure crushed down on Qin Wentian. Even with the augmentation from the formation, Qin Wentian still felt a stifling pressure. Even with the augmentation from the formation, you are still not my opponent. Get out! Han Luo stomped down once more. Qin Wentian stared at the silhouette in the air as a terrifying runic glow circulated around his body. His eyes turned demonic as a towering demonic might gushed forth from him. Rumble! A thunderous boom rang out. Qin Wentian's body grew gigantic, manifesting tens of thousands of shadows. With the augmentation from the formation, numerous gigantic shadows of Qin Wentian appeared in the air, resembling fiend gods. Terrifying runic light circulated around their bodies, as though they could destroy everything. Suppress! Thunderous roars reverberated through the heavens and earth. Tens of millions of welcoming voices roared at the same time, shaking the heavens and shaking the earth. Terrifying heaven-suppressing palm imprints blasted out crazily. Tens of millions of such palm imprints simply destroyed everything. Han Luo's gigantic body stiffened. After which, a fearsome might erupted forth from him, trampling the heavens and earth. Both of his palms blasted out in rage, manifesting an incomparably gigantic earth shield. Rumbling sounds rang out as the earth shield shattered apart. Han Luo howled in rage. It was as though he had 3 heads and 6 arms. His palms blotted out the skies, covering his entire body. Only palm shadows remained, unceasingly defending against the incoming attacks. What a terrifying might! The spectators in the outside world were completely dumbfounded. They only saw Han Luo withstanding over 1,000 attacks before he finally had no choice but to shatter the formation talisman. Directly exiting the formation, countless palm imprints soared up the skies, causing the spectators to be in a daze. Everything happened in an extremely short period of time, but that shameless-looking young man actually relied on the augmentation from the formation to forcefully blast Han Luo out, kicking him out of the formation. How powerful! Someone exclaimed in admiration. This fellow is definitely a hidden genius. He's actually so strong. Although his cultivation base is only at the second level of celestial phenomenon, he's definitely a genius that can jump levels to fight. The spectators were all stunned. Could it be that this battle was purely based on the augmentation from the formation? Clearly, it was impossible. That was his true combat prowess. Chapter 748. Truly a place with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Even Han Luo was forced out. This second-level ascendant has always been concealing his strength, and only erupted out now. The spectators outside the dimension were all extremely shocked. This was too powerful. Only to see that outside the formation diagram, Han Luo stood there in a daze. After which, he turned his gaze onto Qin Wentian, who was inside the dimension. I was actually eliminated. Han Luo was speechless. Also, even before the final battle, he was already kicked out. Not only that, he was kicked out by someone who wasn't that famous in the worry-free city. If Qin Wentian was famous, he would definitely be acquainted with him. Could it be that Qin Wentian was a newly risen genius? This was possible. The worry-free city was extremely vast, and there were many sects within it. For some geniuses at the Heavenly Dipper realm, their talent would be revealed the moment they stepped into the celestial phenomenon realm. Earlier, Qin Wentian's attack, regardless of whether it was the might of his innate technique or the power of his attack, they were all extremely powerful. He must have fused several types of true intents together. Seems like I underestimated him. Han Luo shook his head and smiled bitterly. He didn't hate Qin Wentian as much as Jiang Feng did. He was forced out because his skill was inferior to Qin Wentian. Although it was somewhat embarrassing, he had discovered a genius. Within the dimension, the scene changed unpredictably. The number of spectators grew fewer and fewer. Some of the divine weapons and augmentation formations inside are getting stronger and stronger. Xiaoyu and Zhao Yuyan have both found the augmentation formations. Also, Xiaoyu seems to be meeting with that black-robed young man. The spectators outside could clearly see the situation within the dimension. And indeed, not long after, the two of them encountered each other. Zhao Yuyan is heading towards that young man. The spectators saw that Zhao Yuyan was also heading in the direction of Qin Wentian. There was a high possibility that they would encounter each other. Seems like things were getting more and more interesting. Zhao Yuyan seems to have obtained a treasure that can augment her attacks. I wonder how much strength does it give her. She who is only at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon might not be able to defeat that young man. At this moment, the confidence the spectators had in Zhao Yuyan was no longer that great. Qin Wentian had just kicked out Han Luo, who was at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. Although Han Luo's cultivation base was higher than Zhao Yuyan's, he directly chose to kill his way towards Qin Wentian. Hence, he was at a disadvantage. Zhao Yuyan had obtained a treasure in the dimension. It was just that no one knew how strong it was exactly. Qin Wentian was still quietly waiting at the same spot. No one had found this place, but Qin Wentian wasn't disappointed at all. This meant that there were fewer and fewer people in the formation dimension, which meant that he had a higher chance of becoming the final winner. What he wanted was the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. He didn't care about the opinions of others. But at this moment, Qin Wentian's perception sensed someone approaching. It was none other than the beautiful maiden who attracted the attention of many earlier, Zhao Yuyan. It was rumored that she was a genius from the Golden Armor sect. Zhao Yuyan similarly discovered Qin Wentian. Her silhouette flickered as she sped over, arriving before Qin Wentian in an instant. Her dainty figure directly lunged towards Qin Wentian. Resplendent astral light illuminated the entire space as her constellation floated in the air. A terrifying augmentation light flashed, causing the constellation to grow even more resplendent. From the constellation, countless astral shackles blasted out, bringing with them terrifying whistling sounds as they blasted towards Qin Wentian. It was very hard to imagine that such a beautiful maiden would suddenly erupt forth with such a terrifying might during combat. Not only that, she didn't waste any words and directly acted, wanting to blast Qin Wentian out of the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. She, Zhao Yuyan, had to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. Nobody would be able to obstruct her footsteps. The terrifying astral shackles coiled over, resembling fearsome arrows. Originally, the attack power was already terrifying. In addition to the augmentation, it was even more terrifying. Qin Wentian had already activated the augmentation power of the formation. His body was gigantic. The shadow of his shadow grew even more majestic, resembling a gigantic mountain. He lifted his millstone-like palm and blasted it out. Walala, the millions of astral shackles swung about, as though they had eyes of their own. They actually coiled around that incomparably gigantic millstone-like palm imprint, locking it in place. After which, rumbling sounds rang out as the countless astral shackles slammed into the gigantic palm imprint, directly destroying it. In addition, these astral shackles didn't only attack in a single direction. They shot out in all directions, aiming for Qin Wentian who was on the ground. How violent! The spectators outside the dimension felt their hearts trembling when they saw this scene. Not only for this battle, the battle between Xiaoyu and the black-robed man had also begun, and the might of their battle was even more terrifying than before. Bzz. Qin Wentian similarly released his constellation. Sword Qi shook the heavens, exploding forth at the same time when the astral shackles shot over like lightning. Countless sharp swords manifested, blasting out in all directions, wanting to destroy everything, directly clashing against the boundless astral shackles. Zhao Yuyan stepped towards Qin Wentian, continuing her pressure. Her eyes were cold, akin to sharp blades that could pierce through the eyes of those who saw it. Die. Another gigantic constellation manifested, exuding a boundless sharpness. This was a terrifying silver light, a true silver light of slaughter. Qin Wentian manifested once more. His demonic eyes stared at Zhao Yuyan as he unleashed his dreamworld constellation. Sword light blotted out the skies, sweeping over everything, causing the entire space to feel as though it was about to explode apart. Bzz. Zhao Yuyan's silhouette vanished. She was directly flung towards the location of Qin Wentian's true body. After which, an indomitable long spear directly shot towards Qin Wentian's true body. That silvery white long spear couldn't be seen clearly, only a beam of silver light could be seen. At the same time, the astral shackles shot out, wrapping around Qin Wentian. Fast, too fast. The speed of this long spear was so fast that it caused people to be shocked. Zhao Yuyan's eyes flickered with an extremely resolute light. Qi. The long spear directly pierced into Qin Wentian's body, directly shattering into pieces. Zhao Yuyan's beautiful eyes flashed. Evidently what she pierced wasn't Qin Wentian's true body. It was merely an afterimage. The astral shackles frenziedly swept upwards, enveloping this entire space. Zhao Yuyan inclined her head, her beautiful eyes gleaming with a silver light. Rumble. Qin Wentian stepped out, suppressing the heavens and earth. A supreme suppressive force erupted forth, causing the frenzied astral shackles to turn sluggish. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In the external world, terrifying sounds rang out. Those astral shackles seemed to be frozen. The rattling sounds continued, but it was exceptionally slow. Even the trajectories of their movements could be seen clearly. Zhao Yuyan frowned. She could also feel an extremely powerful suppressive force on her body. Resplendent runic light radiated from Qin Wentian's true body. Rumble. In the external world, an even more shocking suppressive force appeared. The astral shackles were completely immobilized, and after which, rattling sounds rang out. This entire space abruptly opened up. Those astral shackles that sealed this space were all shattered. In the air, Qin Wentian's gigantic shadow radiated a fearsome suppressive might. Close combat, courting death. Qin Wentian coldly snorted. His gigantic silhouette stomped downwards as numerous gigantic golden silhouettes appeared in the air, descending from the heavens, unceasingly slamming into this space. Pooh! Zhao Yuyan groaned in misery as she coughed out a mouthful of fresh blood. Each and every one of those golden silhouettes was like a terrifying immortal or devil. able to suppress this entire space. They were the rulers of this space. Chains! Zhao Yuyan shouted. The light radiating from her body illuminated the sky as a terrifying augmentation force was unleashed. The astral shackles rained down unceasingly, but it was useless. They couldn't break through the suppressive force at all. The rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. The pressure Zhao Yuyan endured grew stronger and stronger as she coughed out blood unceasingly. She stared at the golden silhouettes as her countenance turned pale. Did she really have to die here? Scram! Qin Wentian roared in rage as he stomped down. Zhao Yuyan's legs softened as though she couldn't withstand the pressure. Her beautiful eyes were as resolute as ever as she stared at Qin Wentian in the air. However, she took out a formation talisman, and with a look of trepidation on her face, she crushed the talisman. With a flash of light, she directly vanished from sight. Zhao Yuyan was eliminated as well. This fellow is so powerful. Even Xiaoyu won. If it wasn't for Xiaoyu's heaven-defying strength, this young man might really have obtained the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. The spectators outside the formation dimension mused. Right now there were only 4 people remaining. At this moment, they only saw Qin Wentian's silhouette flickering as he directly gave up on the formation dimension. How intelligent! Seems like he also knows that the augmentation from this formation isn't enough, and chose to search for a stronger place. Qin Wentian continued to roam the formation dimension as his perception extended outwards. He didn't encounter anyone else, and he naturally understood that there shouldn't be many people left in the formation dimension. Also, Zhao Yuyan was already very strong earlier. What he needed now was to find a source of augmentation that could allow him to grow even stronger. If not, he would definitely not be the final victor. The further one went, the more dangerous it would be. Qin Wentian passed by an ancient mountain peak. His silhouette flickered as he flew past it. However, not long after, his steps halted as he turned and headed back. Qin Wentian stared at that ancient mountain peak, only to see a human-shaped gigantic rock there. His silhouette flickered as he directly rushed into it. Not long after, rumbling sounds rang out as Qin Wentian exited from within, clad in resplendent golden light. I almost didn't discover you. A smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face. After that, he stomped on the ground and with a deafening boom, the mountain peak directly crumbled apart as a terrifying fissure appeared in the middle. He stepped out and soared into the air. With a roar of rage, his voice reverberated through the entire formation dimension as he rushed forward with incredible speed. He's attracting people over. The people outside the formation dimension felt their hearts trembling. This fellow was so crazy. Did he obtain an even stronger augmentation technique? He actually managed to find the augmentation technique hidden within the mountain peak. Most probably, ordinary people wouldn't be able to find it. From afar, a silhouette soared up into the air, rushing towards Qin Wentian. This person was 2 meters tall and resembled a giant. He transformed into a terrifying beam of light as he rushed towards Qin Wentian. Scram! Qin Wentian blasted out with his palms as a terrifying palm imprint blasted out. With a deafening boom, that person's bones were directly shattered as he crushed the formation talisman and fled. If it wasn't for Qin Wentian showing mercy, that person would have already died. Qin Wentian continued forward, searching for others in the formation dimension to kill, incomparably tyrannical. Chapter 749. At this moment, there were only 3 people left in the formation dimension. Qin Wentian was bathed in the light of the armor, resembling a divine general, unexcelled in the world. His aura towered up into the sky as the halo of light illuminated the area. From afar, the other 2 experts could already sense his existence, and both of them moved towards Qin Wentian. Of these 2, one was Xiaoyu, who had obtained a powerful augmentation, while the other was a 7th level ascendant. Both of their speeds were extremely fast, and not too long later, the 3 of them sensed each other's auras as they moved towards a certain location. The final 3 of them were about to meet each other at the same time. The final battle is about to begin. The 3 of them sensed each other's auras and moved towards the same direction. The spectators outside the formation dimension mused silently as they stared at the scene inside. Among the 3 of them, who would be the final victor and obtain the fiend god armor. The suspense was growing. Before this, they all felt that the possibility of Xiaoyu winning was higher. But now, Qin Wentian, who had obtained the augmentation of the fiend god armor, was like a rainbow, exuding an aura of invincibility. Not only that, he had also given many surprises along the way. Within the formation dimension, the halo of light radiating from Qin Wentian reached its peak. Constellations flashed in the air as resplendent astral light radiated from him. Xiaoyu was the same as a 7th-level ascendant. Xiaoyu's demonic qi towered up into the sky as a gigantic golden lion manifested in his constellation. It was a gigantic demonic beast that could devour the heavens and devour the earth. It galloped through the air, causing rumbling sounds to echo out from the heavens and earth. Kill! The 7th-level ascendant roared as a blood-colored gigantic axe cleaved down from the sky, aiming for Qin Wentian. Rumble! Qin Wentian lifted his palms and blasted out. Resplendent runic light shone as a terrifying suppression palm imprint engulfed the heavens and earth, directly colliding with the blood-colored gigantic axe, tearing it apart at the same time. Roar, roar! An incomparably huge and terrifying roar shook the heavens and earth. It was the roar of the Lion King, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. A golden claw of the Lion King pierced through the space, tearing towards Qin Wentian. It was as fast as lightning, and that attack seemed to be able to ignore the distance between them. An incomparably blazing brilliance erupted from Qin Wentian's body, and the talisman light that coiled around his body all flowed towards his palms. His palms blasted out with a force that could topple mountains and overturn the seas, and they seemed to emit a supreme divine might that was indestructible, and they blasted the Lion King's sharp claws to the point of directly exploding into pieces. So strong. Their attacks are all so ferocious. The spectators outside the dimension felt their hearts trembling. They were simply too powerful. Clearly, these three were all true elites, or they wouldn't be able to participate in the final battle for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. As long as they could defeat the last two, they would be able to obtain a complete Sky Demon Oracle Bone at 1/10 of the price. To them, this was undoubtedly an extremely great harvest. After all, the Sky Demon Oracle Bone was an extremely rare treasure. Naturally, no matter what, the Amorsi's residents had already earned enough. They only needed to take out treasures to tempt others to participate in the gambling battles. And after that, they would be able to provide the method of battle. Although they would only gamble once every 7 days, the Amorsi's residents in the worry-free city had already earned an unimaginable amount of wealth, let alone the entire Cloud Prefecture. One must know that there were many major cities in the Cloud Prefecture, and the treasures the Amorsi's residents could bring out were even more valuable. If people wanted to participate in the gambling battles, they would have to pay an even greater price. But no matter what, since the Amorsi's residence was able to exist and prosper so much, it undoubtedly captured the hearts of many. Just like this time around, would Qin Wentian give up on this opportunity? And in the boundlessly vast Cloud Prefecture, there were countless people who had the same thoughts as Qin Wentian. The battle within the dimension completely erupted. After the three of them clashed a few times, Qin Wentian actually managed to forcefully defend against the attacks of Xiaoyu and the 7th-level ascendant. His aura earlier was simply too overwhelming, to the extent that the two of them wanted to show off their might to Qin Wentian, directly blasting him away before the two of them could fight against each other. But even after several attacks, they still failed to blast Qin Wentian away. The attacks of the two of them grew more and more violent. Both of them were enraged as they blasted out even more power. Blood-colored dark clouds could be seen in the sky, with numerous blood-colored gigantic axes revolving around them. The 7th-level ascendant roared in rage, as over 100 beams of light actually shot down from the sky, aiming for Qin Wentian. This attack was definitely capable of taking Qin Wentian's life away. Most probably, Qin Wentian wouldn't even have time to activate the formation talismans before he was cleaved into two. Roar! The Lion King howled in rage. Countless golden demonic lions appeared in the air, all of them rushing towards Qin Wentian. All of them opened their terrifying maws, revealing their malevolent fangs as they lunged towards Qin Wentian, wanting to devour him and tear him into pieces. This young man is going to be in for it. Although he is very strong, he is currently being ganged up on by two powerful experts. With such violent attacks, he would surely be eliminated. The spectators all felt fear in their hearts when they saw this scene. At this moment, Qin Wentian seemed to be in the midst of a raging storm of destruction, and could be torn into pieces at any moment. This attack was simply too violent. Just looking at it caused the hearts of those who saw it to tremble. At this moment, Qin Wentian released the halo of light from his armor to its limits, amplifying his strength to the maximum. His body transformed into a giant, resembling a true fiend god. Tens of thousands of silhouettes appeared at the same time. All of them were terrifying giants. They all howled in unison as they blasted out chaotic fist lights, suppressing the entire space. The power of the fiend god suppression art he comprehended was unleashed to its limits. The fusion of divine energy and true intents in his body frenziedly erupted forth as the tens of thousands of silhouettes attacked at the same time, truly capable of destroying the heavens and earth. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A frenzied flow of energy appeared in this space as the earth was torn apart. The mountains in the distance shattered as the rivers churned. If there were experts in the surroundings, they would definitely be killed by him. Boom. A thunderous sound thundered out. Although there were many silhouettes that were destroyed, there were still many more who soared through the air towards the 7th level ascendant. Each of them radiated a boundless golden light, as resplendent suppression runes circulated around them. Behind them, a terrifying golden silhouette could be faintly seen. Die. With a roar of rage, Qin Wentian lifted his palms to suppress the heavens and earth. His palms shattered the void as he blasted towards the 7th level ascendant. That person howled in rage as he slashed out with a towering blood-colored axe light. Numerous blood-colored lines tore through the sky, yet they were all directly pierced through. His gaze stared at the unparalleled might gushing towards him as a look of terror appeared on his face. He took out a formation talisman and wanted to shatter it, but the speed of the attack was simply too fast. So fast that he didn't even have the slightest bit of time to do so. With a deafening boom, his body was directly shattered into pieces, dying within the formation dimension. The spectators in the outside world all had their mouths agape as they stared in disbelief at the scene before them. Their eyes were filled with shock. None of them could move as they stared at the scene before them. A terrifying existence at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon was actually killed so easily. Not only that, the performance of that young man earlier was truly unworthy of praise. When he saw people, he would avoid them, not daring to fight. He was as cowardly as a mouse and was extremely shameless. But it was precisely such a person who grew stronger and stronger as he fought. They all discovered that the reason why this young man didn't fight earlier was because he was waiting for an opportunity. For example, when he knew that Jiang Feng had the support of a formation, he intentionally walked towards Jiang Feng. At this moment, the spectators understood that Qin Wentian was doing this intentionally. He wanted to lure Jiang Feng out, and after that, he would replace Jiang Feng and obtain the formation. Borrowing the support of the formation, he eliminated Han Luo and blasted Zhao Yiyan away, displaying his brilliance. But when he saw that the experts within the formation dimension were all becoming more powerful, if he continued to stay there, he would be eliminated sooner or later. Everyone felt that it was impossible for him to contend against Xieyu. At this moment, he decisively gave up the support of the formation and went on his way alone, searching for a new source of strength. He found it. After obtaining the halo of the armor, he didn't waste a single second and directly declared war against all the experts in the formation dimension. He knew that his cultivation base was weak, and at this moment, he had to seize every second he had to grow stronger. He mustn't allow the other experts to obtain the support of the formation, or the one who would be defeated would still be him. This person was truly too frightening. His decisiveness made many people blush with shame. A mere person at such a realm was actually able to achieve such a feat. This was simply a perfect battle. This was definitely a battle template. Could it be that he had participated in betting battles frequently in the past? Qin Wentian didn't know about the thoughts of the crowd. At this moment, he was still fighting Xieyu. The two of them frenziedly clashed against each other. Qin Wentian suppressed the heavens and earth while Xieyu's demonic qi towered up into the sky. The Lion King roared and Xieyu's gigantic body was enveloped by Xieyu. This won't do. Qin Wentian stared ahead. After that, his silhouette flickered as he directly rushed out like a bolt of lightning. Die. Xiaoyu icily spoke. The Golden Lion King roared as boundless killing intent blasted towards Qin Wentian. But at this moment, Qin Wentian, who had transformed into an immortal devil, had no fear at all. He rushed towards the Lion King as a pair of golden wings appeared in the air. His body arced through the air in a beautiful arc of light, directly rushing into the Lion King's open mouth. Xiaoyu's countenance changed when he saw Qin Wentian rushing over. His countenance grew extremely unsightly as he roared in rage, his eyes gleaming with a demonic light. Scram! Qin Wentian's silhouette transformed once more as he blasted out with his palms, not giving Xiaoyu any chance. Xiaoyu howled in madness as an incomparably gigantic Lion King imprint smashed towards Qin Wentian. However, it was directly suppressed and destroyed. Xiaoyu crushed the talisman as the turbulent airflow dissipated. The gigantic Lion King disappeared as well. Staring at the young man still standing inside, the hearts of the crowd couldn't help but tremble. Chapter 750. I truly didn't expect this. The spectators all drew in a deep breath when they saw Xiaoyu exiting the formation dimension, trying to calm the shock in their hearts. They had guessed that Xiaoyu, Zhao Yuyan, Han Luo and the others would be the final victors, or those with higher cultivation bases. The only thing they didn't expect was for a new force to emerge. An inconspicuous existence that was even looked down upon by others at the start had actually become the final victor. Not only that, this victory wasn't a result of luck. He had defeated Jiang Feng, Han Luo, Zhao Yuyan, Xiaoyu, as well as 7th-level ascendants. One could say that all those who were guessing to be the final victor were all swept away by him alone. In fact, his cultivation base was the lowest among all of them. Although he borrowed the support of the formation, it could be said that luck played a part in his victory. However, there were many other types of augmentations in the formation dimension. Being able to walk all the way to the end wasn't something that could be summed up with just luck alone. This was especially so for the final battle. Qin Wentian's combat prowess was definitely at an extremely high level. Even if he didn't borrow the support of the formation dimension, it wouldn't be a problem for him to jump a level in combat. If not, Han Luo and Xiaoyu wouldn't have been defeated consecutively. Only to see at this moment, an expert from the Amorsi's residence walked out. He stretched his hand out and instantly, the formation diagram in the air transformed into a scroll that flew towards his palm. The formation dimension vanished as Qin Wentian and the others appeared in front of the great hall of the Amorsi's residence. This caused Qin Wentian to heave a sigh of relief in his heart. Seems like the Sky Demon Oracle Bone was already in his hands. He wasn't worried at all that the Amorsi's residence would encounter any mishaps. Being able to become a hegemonic power of the Cloud Prefecture, how could they not have this bit of credibility? They wouldn't even frown if they had better treasures. After all, they had obtained much more than the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. If the Amorsi's residence made a mistake, it would be fatal. In the future, no one would dare to participate in the gambling battles of the Amorsi's residence. What he needed to pay attention to were those who were eliminated by him. It wasn't a secret that he won the gambling battle. Everyone had personally witnessed it, and the Sky Demon Oracle Bone was something they needed. It would be fine if he had a background in the worry-free city, but if he didn't, these people would definitely covet it. At this instant, he could clearly feel many gazes landing on him. The eyes of Xiaoyu, who was defeated earlier, were especially cold. He actually lost and didn't obtain the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. This time around he came here for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone, but it wasn't for himself. As the descendant of the female city lord, as well as having an immortal foundation father, he could be said to be blessed by the heavens and didn't lack cultivation resources. Also, he wasn't proficient in weaponsmithing. Although the Sky Demon Oracle Bone was a valuable treasure, it wouldn't be of much use to him. The reason why he came here to fight for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone was because he wanted to prepare a greeting gift for the person who was about to arrive at the worry-free city. This person was none other than a powerful weaponsmith, and had an extraordinary status. Even the son of the worry-free city lord had to treat him with respect. Such a person would definitely have no lack of cultivation resources, and he didn't have any good gifts to give him. And at this moment, the Amorsi's residents sent out news that a Sky Demon Oracle bone had appeared, and they were going to use it as a gambling treasure. He immediately participated in the gambling battle, wanting to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle bone no matter what. But in the end he actually failed. Second level of celestial phenomenon, I actually lost to him. At this moment, without the reinforcement, everyone regained their original auras. The aura radiating from Qin Wentian was definitely one of the weaker ones in their eyes. But it was precisely him who defeated everyone, winning the gambling battle. Not only was this thought in Xie Yu's heart, Zhao Yuyan and the others were thinking the same as well. At this moment, Zhao Yuyan's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian with reluctance in her heart. The Sky Demon Oracle bone was an order given to her by her master. She had to obtain it no matter what. It was a form of tempering for her. Also, her master promised her that as long as she obtained the Sky Demon Oracle bone, her master would teach her how to forge the toughest divine weapon, allowing her to personally observe the forging process. Although her master was an immortal-ranked weaponsmith, immortal-ranked divine weapons weren't ordinary items. It wasn't something you could forge just because you wanted to. Many materials were required, and even her master would rarely personally forge one, let alone having the opportunity to observe the forging process. This time around, such a rare opportunity actually slipped away right before her eyes. No way, I have to obtain the Sky Demon Oracle bone no matter what. Zhao Yuyan's beautiful eyes flashed with sharpness. She mustn't miss out on such an opportunity. In addition, if she didn't manage to bring the Sky Demon Oracle bone back, her master would surely be disappointed. At this moment, the person from the Amorsi's residence who kept the diagram turned his gaze onto Qin Wentian and smiled. Congratulations on becoming the victor of this gambling battle. According to the agreement, the Amorsi's residence will give you a complete set of the Sky Demon Oracle bone. You can check it. After speaking, that person waved his hand as an interspatial ring landed on Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian received it and sent his will into it. His eyes gleamed with sharpness as he kept the interspatial ring and stared at the figure in the air. Many thanks to Senior. Since you are the victor of the gambling battle, the treasure naturally belongs to you. There's no need to thank me. That person glanced at Qin Wentian as he calmly spoke. As the victor of the gambling battle, you can stay in the Amorsi's residence for a period of time, and can leave whenever you want. Naturally, if you need the protection of the Amorsi's residence, you can leave as well. You just have to pay some compensation. The words of this person were clearly telling Qin Wentian that there would be people who wanted to snatch the treasure. This was also something that the Amorsi's residents would say after every gambling battle ended. For those who won the gambling battle and obtained the treasure, they would often seek protection from the Amorsi's residents. After all, for the victor of the gambling battle to obtain the treasure, there would naturally be risks involved. Once you step down the stairs of the Amorsi's residence, the Amorsi's residence would no longer be responsible for your safety. The gazes of everyone landed onto Qin Wentian. This person seemed to be a stranger, and they didn't know if he would seek protection from the Amorsi's residence. If that was the case, it would be impossible for those who had designs on the Sky Demon Oracle bone. No need, I will leave on my own. Qin Wentian spoke. Okay. That expert nodded and didn't say anything more. He had already warned Qin Wentian, and as for how he would choose, it was up to him. There was no need for him to say anything more. Qin Wentian turned and prepared to leave this place. At this moment, a silhouette appeared in front of him. It was none other than Han Luo, who was defeated by Qin Wentian. Han Luo smiled. My name is Han Luo. I wonder how I should address you. Glancing at Han Luo, Qin Wentian replied. Qin Wentian. Sir, your talent is extraordinary and your combat prowess is extremely strong. I wonder which power you are from. Han Luo had a warm smile on his face, as though he wanted to make friends. If it was during normal times, Qin Wentian might have patiently conversed with Han Luo. However, the situation now was special. He just obtained the Sky Demon Oracle bone, and didn't know if Han Luo was sincere or not. Hence, he didn't wish to speak too much. At this moment, another person walked over. He stared at Qin Wentian. Can you sell the Sky Demon Oracle Bone to me? I will pay an equivalent price. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the person standing before him. This person was also someone he defeated, the Heaven Chosen of the Golden Armor sect, Zhao Yuyan. Evidently, she hadn't given up on the Sky Demon Oracle Bone, and still wanted to obtain it from Qin Wentian. Sorry, the Sky Demon Oracle Bone is useful to me. Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. A treasure like the Sky Demon Oracle Bone had always been priceless. At the very least, at his current level, he wouldn't be able to come in contact with it. Maybe he would be able to see it more often after he stepped into the Immortal Foundation realm. But that was in the future. Right now, he really needed the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. How could he give it to Zhao Yuyan? After speaking, Qin Wentian nodded to Han Luo and walked to the side. He had no plans to continue staying here. A demonic light flashed in Xieyu's eyes. After which, he turned and stared at Qin Wentian as he stepped out. Not only Xieyu, many others followed suit as well. The group of them directly walked down the stairs, exiting the Amorsi's residence. Qin Wentian walked at the very front. Behind him, there were many people who were watching the commotion, feeling puzzled in their hearts. This Qin Wentian was a little too unwise. Although his talent was very good and his combat prowess was extremely high, his cultivation base was still too low. How could he leave so brazenly after obtaining the Sky Demon Oracle Bone? Sir, this Sky Demon Oracle Bone might burn your hands. Why don't you hand it over to me? Only to see Zhao Yuyan following behind, walking shoulder to shoulder with Qin Wentian. Her tone was calm as she spoke. I won't mistreat you. I've already said that I won't exchange. Qin Wentian unhappily spoke. Zhao Yuyan furrowed her brows as a cold intent radiated from her. She then continued. I advise you to be more sensible. If you continue to be so stubborn, I'm afraid that not only will you not be able to hold on to the Sky Demon Oracle Bone, your life might even be in danger. Are you threatening me? Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, staring at Zhao Yuyan. Zhao Yuyan also turned her head, staring at Qin Wentian's cold eyes. Her eyes also flickered with arrogance as she spoke. So what if I am? The two of them were very close to each other, their auras clashing against each other as a wave of pressure gushed forth, only to see Qin Wentian coldly spitting out a single word, scram. Whoever dares to continue following me, don't blame me for being impolite. Qin Wentian increased his speed, directly leaving Zhao Yuyan behind, leaving behind a cold voice that caused the people behind to pause. Zhao Yuyan frowned when she heard this. Her eyes flashed with killing intent. Telling her to scram? Do you think you can be so impudent just because your combat prowess isn't bad? Zhao Yuyan's silhouette flickered as terrifying astral energy radiated from her. Although Qin Wentian's combat prowess wasn't bad, he was only at the second level of celestial phenomenon. Without the augmentation of the formation, what could he do? He actually dared to speak rudely? He was simply courting death. Qin Wentian's speed increased even further. A dazzling beam of light appeared beneath his feet as he sped forward with incredible speed. Back then when he destroyed the Royal Sacred Sect and killed many experts from the War Immortal Palace, all the spoils of war he obtained were kept by his original body. Among them, there were many treasures and he naturally didn't lack transportation. Humph. Zhao Yuyan had a cold smile on her face when she saw this scene. With a wave of her hands, a resplendent beam of light appeared beneath her feet, carrying her as she sped forward, chasing after Qin Wentian. The astral light radiating from her grew even more intense. Swishing sounds rang out as astral chains soared upwards, stirring up the wind and clouds. After which, they abruptly shot towards Qin Wentian. The tens of thousands of chains chased after Qin Wentian. Chapter 751. At the instant Zhao Yuyan acted, Qin Wentian instantly sensed it. His black eyes gleamed with a demonic light, filled with killing intent. You are courting death. Snorting coldly, Qin Wentian abruptly erupted forth with boundless sword light. In just an instant, millions of sharp swords whistled through the air, flying out in all directions. They didn't attack Zhao Yuyan but stopped in the air instead. A wave of destructive might gushed forth as a resplendent screen of sword light appeared in the air. The chains frenziedly blasted over, slamming into the screen of sword light. A crisp cracking sound rang out as the screen of sword light shattered. Zhao Yuyan released her constellation as she stood in the air, staring at Qin Wentian, refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Who do you think you are? I'm willing to exchange for the Sky Demon Oracle Bone with equal value. Yet you actually dared to reject. Zhao Yuyan's words were sharp, exuding a tyrannical aura. It was as though if she wanted to exchange the Sky Demon Oracle Bone with Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian had to agree. That dainty countenance was filled with cold arrogance, causing the demonic light in Qin Wentian's eyes to grow even more intense. Although Zhao Yuyan was beautiful, her heart was extremely vicious and tyrannical. If he didn't agree, she would directly act. Qin Wentian also truly experienced the law of the jungle in the immortal realms. Zhao Yuyan was a heaven chosen of the Golden Armor sect. How could she allow him to reject the exchange? Even a defeated opponent dares to act so arrogantly. You have no sense of shame despite only having a body. Qin Wentian mercilessly rebuked Zhao Yuyan. As the sound of his voice faded, Zhao Yuyan's countenance flickered with a cold light. Clattering sounds rang out unceasingly as the iron chains soared up into the sky, illuminating the entire space. The countless chains that bound the constellations gave off a feeling that they were trapped in a heavenly prison, unable to escape even if they had wings. I initially thought that although you were disrespectful, your crime wasn't worthy of death. I only wanted to seize your Sky Demon Oracle Bone, and I would spare your life. Who would have thought that you would dare to humiliate me? Since this is the case, this place shall be the place where your bones will be buried. Zhao Yuyan radiated a cold killing intent, showing no mercy. As the sound of her voice faded, the boundless chains transformed into a heavenly prison, sealing this space. Her killing intent gushed forth, wanting to take Qin Wentian's life, killing Qin Wentian here. Qin Wentian's eyes were also filled with killing intent. This was the first time he felt such an intense killing intent after coming to the immortal realms. Before this, in the Qin clan, Qin Feng and Qin Qing were both pure-hearted and kind-hearted, forming a clear contrast with Zhao Yuyan. Most probably, it was because Zhao Yuyan was from a prestigious clan and had outstanding talent. Hence, she felt that she was a lofty existence. After she took the initiative to make a deal with Qin Wentian, but was rejected, killing intent instantly appeared in her heart. Because in her eyes, Qin Wentian wasn't qualified to reject her. Walala! Terrifying sounds rang out unceasingly. After the constellation transformed this space into a prison, the countless chains transformed into beams of white light that shot towards Qin Wentian. That terrifying speed was sufficient to penetrate through everything. It was too fast, so fast that the naked eye had no way to follow the speed of the chains. How laughable to the extreme. Are you even qualified to be buried here? Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered, and at the same time his voice rang out in the air, entering Zhao Yuyan's ears. After which, she felt a powerful suppression energy radiating forth, pressing down on her body, permeating every corner of this space. Qin Wentian released his constellation. This was the fourth constellation, a constellation that possessed supreme suppression energy. At this instant, Qin Wentian appeared in the center of the boundless chains, yet there wasn't a single chain that could break through his defense, locking him down. At this moment, he was like an immortal or devil, standing proudly in the air. His body was gigantic and radiated boundless light. Behind him, a gigantic golden statue appeared, and every beam of light radiated from it contained an extremely tyrannical suppression energy. Die! Zhao Yuyan furrowed her brows and roared. She stepped towards Qin Wentian as the chains frenziedly attacked. However, the halo of light around Qin Wentian grew even more dazzling. Boundless runic light circulated around his body as golden silhouettes descended from the skies, each of them resembling an immortal or devil. I'm not qualified. Qin Wentian stared at Zhao Yuyan. At this instant, he no longer kept a low profile. Instead, he revealed his brilliance, unexcelled in the world. From afar, the spectators had already rushed over. They stood there and stared at the battle between the two of them as their hearts trembled violently. What a powerful Qin Wentian. So it turned out that he didn't even need the support of a formation to have such combat prowess. Even Zhao Yuyan didn't have any advantage in front of him. At this point in the battle, Zhao Yuyan naturally could also sense how strong Qin Wentian's combat prowess was. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light as the baleful aura in the center of her brows grew even denser. She took out a resplendent white pearl and directly crushed it. A moment later, a powerful runic light enveloped her as the might she exuded grew even stronger. Even the chains became even more crystalline and terrifying. Countless chains trembled in the air as they frenziedly blasted towards Qin Wentian. Even if you borrow the power of external forces, do you think you can touch me? Qin Wentian roared. Runic light circulated around him as he grew even stronger. He was like a true immortal, a true devil, a god of war. In the air, numerous terrifying golden bodies cascaded downwards in all directions. At this instant, this entire space seemed to be suppressed, unable to move at all. Those chains froze once again, their speed actually slowed down. Zhao Yuyan's body also felt incomparably heavy. She inclined her head and stared at the constellation that was radiating boundless resplendent light as the terrifying golden bodies cascaded downwards, suppressing the heavens and earth, suppressing the ancient eras. I'm not qualified? Qin Wentian's figure flickered in the air. Those chains were suppressed. They couldn't even get close to Qin Wentian. How could they still attack? Zhao Yuyan would never have imagined that when facing a mere second-level ascendant, she would actually be so restrained. It was as though she was being suppressed by her opponent. What a pitiful woman. You don't know the immensity of the heavens and earth, thinking that you're unrivaled under the heavens. Qin Wentian emotionlessly stared at her. As more and more golden bodies descended from the skies, other than suppression, there was also a destructive energy that permeated this space. Zhao Yuyan felt that she couldn't resist anymore as her countenance turned pale. Qin Wentian's constellation would only grow stronger and stronger. This suppression constellation was simply too terrifying. How did he comprehend it exactly? A bright light flashed again. Zhao Yuyan took out another treasure. But at the same instant, Qin Wentian snorted. With an intention of his will, boundless golden bodies descended from the skies, surrounding Zhao Yuyan. Her arms stiffened as the terrifying golden bodies seemed to be chanting a supreme might. Qin Wentian continued walking over. He was like the center of all suppression energy, like a true divinity that ruled over everything. Behind him, an incomparably gigantic shadow could be seen, suppressing the heavens and earth, suppressing the heavens and earth, as well as the heavens. Kill! Qin Wentian roared. At the instant the sound of his voice rang out, the spectators from afar all felt their hearts trembling. Kill! The heaven chosen of the Golden Armor sect, Zhao Yuyan. He would kill her just like that. If one angered him, he would show no mercy. Just like his performance in the world formation, the decisiveness of his heart was simply terrifying. He had no fear at all. Zhao Yuyan wanted to bury his bones here. What face was there to talk about? Why would he care if she was the heaven chosen of the Golden Armor sect or not? You dare! Zhao Yuyan roared. What would Qin Wentian not dare to do? The powerful suppression energy already blasted out, aiming for Zhao Yuyan. At this instant, Zhao Yuyan groaned in misery. Her countenance paled as she coughed out fresh blood. However, that destructive energy continued pressing forth, aiming for her life. This brat is so decisive, he definitely isn't someone to be trifled with. The crowd trembled. They didn't expect him to be so strong. Those who initially wanted to seize the Sky Demon Oracle Bone were all shaken. This was especially so for those with weaker cultivation bases. They directly gave up on this thought. Die. Qin Wentian saw that Zhao Yuyan was still bitterly enduring. Stepping out, he resembled a divinity as he moved towards Zhao Yuyan. An even stronger might blasted out, and the golden silhouettes transformed into streams of light that shot towards Zhao Yuyan. But at this moment, a terrifying white light radiated from Zhao Yuyan, transforming into a screen of immortal light that enveloped Zhao Yuyan. This screen of light took on the form of an old man with golden eyes. His eyes were terrifyingly sharp as he stared at Qin Wentian. Master! Zhao Yuyan lowered her head as she called out. So it turned out that this shadow that appeared was formed from the immortal sense left behind by her master, the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor sect. Immortal Foundation experts could form their own immortal sense, and had unfathomable abilities. Who dares to kill my disciple? The eyes of the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor sect seemed to be able to pierce through everything as he stared at Qin Wentian. Although this was only a strand of immortal sense, before this strand of immortal sense, Qin Wentian could clearly feel the pressure of an immortal. This was a power on a different level, and he instantly broke out in cold sweat. But even so, his eyes were as sharp as ever as he stared ahead. Your disciple is useless, yet she still wanted to kill me to seize my treasure. Tell me, should I kill her or not? Qin Wentian bluntly spoke, his words causing the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor sect to snort coldly again. Impudent, you actually dare to spout such arrogant words in front of me? Didn't your elders teach you how to conduct yourself? After speaking, an even stronger pressure gushed towards Qin Wentian, wanting to crush Qin Wentian. There were many types of Immortal Foundation experts. In the immortal realms, many immortals would leave behind their immortal sense for their descendants to protect themselves. An example was the strand of immortal sense Zhao Yuyan's master left behind on her. If an Immortal Foundation expert wanted to kill Zhao Yuyan, this strand of immortal sense naturally wouldn't be of any use. But with this strand of immortal sense, the other party would know who killed Zhao Yuyan. Hence, when killing a descendant of a major character in the immortal realms, one had to be extremely careful because the immortal sense left behind by an elder would definitely be left behind. This also caused the hierarchy in the immortal realms to be even stricter. For those with a powerful background, nobody would dare to antagonize them. Qin Wentian's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. He stared fixedly at the Supreme Elder. Even this strand of immortal sense was able to crush him. His cultivation base was simply too low. Just when Qin Wentian wanted to borrow the treasure and leave, a figure suddenly appeared from afar. This person was clad in white and exuded an extraordinary aura. The moment he appeared, Qin Wentian could sense it. He glanced at the other party as a smile flickered in his eyes. Senior Bai Wuya didn't lie to him and left a strand of immortal sense on him, saying that after he entered the immortal realms, Bai Wuya would immediately come to look for him. Chapter 752. Bai Wuya was clad in white as he floated over, appearing beside Qin Wentian. His aura was extremely ordinary, there were no fluctuations to it at all. The people in the surroundings could clearly sense his extraordinary demeanor, yet they couldn't tell how strong he was. This was an existence that could stand out like a crane in a flock of chickens, yet he seemed like an ordinary mortal. Bai Wuya calmly glanced at the immortal shadow, as though he could see through him with a single glance. Sir, who are you? The Grand Elder of the Golden Armor sect, who was also the master of Zhao Yuyan, stared at Bai Wuya with wariness in his eyes. This Bai Wuya gave him an extraordinary feeling. Scram. Bai Wuya spat out a single word, his words causing the gazes of the people in the surroundings to freeze. Scram? Although the aura of this person was extraordinary, could it be that he didn't know who this person was? This illusory figure was none other than an Immortal Foundation expert, the Grand Elder of the Golden Armor sect. Only his immortal sense remained here. This person who just appeared actually dared to tell the Grand Elder of the Golden Armor sect to scram? Even Zhao Yuyan's eyes flashed with coldness as she stared at Bai Wuya. Telling her master to scram? He simply didn't know what was good for him, not knowing the immensity of death. However, nobody knew that at the instant the sound of Bai Wuya's voice rang out, the immortal sense of the Grand Elder of the Golden Armor sect began to tremble violently, fluctuating unstably. Scram, scram, scram. This word reverberated through the air, reverberating through the air. In the Golden Armor sect a few thousand miles away from here, in a towering great hall, an old man exuding sharpness could be seen sitting there. His eyes were golden, but at this moment, his ruddy countenance suddenly turned pale. A terrifying fluctuation directly penetrated through his immortal sense and was transmitted to his original body. Boom. His mind trembled violently. After that, he closed his eyes. In his powerful immortal sense, a white-robed figure appeared. This white-robed figure casually stood there. His eyes seemed to be able to see through his soul. A terrifying aura circulated around him, causing him to feel a chill as even his soul was trembling. Not good. This expert was none other than the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect, the Master of Zhao Yuyan. Right now, his true self was in the Golden Armor Sect and his entire body was trembling. He couldn't get rid of that silhouette that appeared in his mind. It felt like the other party could see through his immortal sense with a single glance and see his existence. The Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect has never seen such a terrifying existence before. If the other party wanted to kill him, it would be as simple as squashing an ant. Zhao Yuyan, the great elder of the Golden Armor Sect, was furious. What kind of person did this girl offend to attract such a powerful expert? When he thought of this, the Grand Elder of the Golden Armor Sect felt a chill run down his spine. His true self stood there in a daze, but the figure in his mind did not leave. Right now he was just a pitiful weakling, waiting to be judged. Under such circumstances, how could the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect not be enraged? He even vented his anger on Zhao Yuyan. Although Zhao Yuyan was his disciple, so what of it? A disciple was a disciple after all. For the sake of his own life, he wouldn't even blink an eye if thousands of disciples were sacrificed. But right now, Zhao Yuyan had implicated him, causing him to be in an extremely dangerous situation. How could he not be enraged? Seeing that it wasn't easy for you to cultivate, I will spare you from death. Scram. A voice rang out in his mind, after which the white-robed silhouette vanished from his mind. The countenance of the Supreme Elder was still pale. Only now did he heave a sigh of relief. He discovered that his entire body was drenched in sweat. He was an immortal foundation expert. Yet he was so frightened that his legs felt like jelly. What sort of expert is this person exactly? The Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect silently mused. After stepping into the immortal foundation realm, each step was as difficult as ascending the heavens. Even for him, he was only at the first level of immortal foundation. He had no way to imagine how strong that white-robed young man was exactly. And at this moment, at the location where Qin Wentian was at, the immortal sense of the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect had already shattered. Zhao Yuyan, who saw this scene, froze as her countenance turned pale. She stared at the white-robed young man, and Qin Wentian before her. Her master's immortal sense was actually shattered. The white-robed young man didn't even do anything, and the immortal sense had already vanished. What was going on exactly? And just when Zhao Yuyan was feeling trepidation, Wuxia didn't even glance at her. His gaze was fixed on Qin Wentian. Should we leave now or? Let's go. Qin Wentian emotionlessly glanced at Zhao Yuyan as he replied. The two of them didn't interact too much. Okay. Wuxia waved his hands. A moment later, both him and Qin Wentian vanished from their original location, leaving behind only Zhao Yuyan, who stood there dumbly. Earlier, when her master's immortal sense vanished, Qin Wentian should have been able to kill her. However, Qin Wentian merely glanced at her emotionlessly. He didn't say anything, and didn't even use words to humiliate her. But from Qin Wentian's eyes, she could see an intense disdain and disdain. It was as though she, a heaven chosen of the Golden Armor Sect, was nothing in his eyes. She was worthless. If he wanted to kill her, he would kill her. If he didn't, he would spare her. He couldn't be bothered to take her life. Such disdain, such disregard, was undoubtedly the cruelest form of humiliation. Whether he killed Zhao Yuyan or not, that young man didn't care at all. What happened earlier? Many people in the surroundings still had no idea what was going on. Why did the immortal sense of the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect vanish? After that white-robed young man appeared, he shouted the word scram, and didn't attack. His immortal sense simply vanished without a trace. They had no way to ascertain what happened exactly. Han Luo, Xie Yu and the others frowned. They didn't understand as well. Let alone them. Even Zhao Yuyan didn't understand what happened. But no matter what, the Sky Demon Oracle Bone had already been taken away by Qin Wentian. That white-robed young man might be very powerful. Maybe he's also an immortal foundation existence. Han Luo silently mused. Earlier, the speed at which he left, that extraordinary aura, as well as that calm attitude, made Han Luo feel that the white-robed young man was a powerful immortal foundation existence. If not, he wouldn't dare to berate the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect. The immortal sense of the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect was protecting Zhao Yuyan. It was impossible for the white-robed young man to not know that it was an immortal sense. Since he knew, he still dared to say scram. This undoubtedly proved that he was in existence on the same level as the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect. In fact, he might even be stronger, at the second level or third level of Immortal Foundation. He didn't dare to think higher. After all, this place was only the worry-free city, a small city in the boundlessly vast Cloud Prefecture. Being able to establish a first-level Immortal Foundation was already an extremely impressive feat. Those who were too strong only existed in the legends. As for Immortal King existences, they could be considered lofty existences in the entire Cloud Prefecture. Even within the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, they were considered supreme experts and had a seat of honor in the immortal realms. No matter where they went, they would be treated as esteemed guests. As for the truth of this matter, these people had no way to know. But after this matter, Zhao Yuyan returned to the Golden Armor Sect. She was grounded for 3 months by the sect leader of the Golden Armor Sect, and from then on, her status in the Golden Armor Sect plummeted. The Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect didn't give her any pointers, let alone personally forging an immortal ranked weapon in front of her. Naturally, this was a matter for the future. Bai Wuya brought Qin Wentian and directly departed. Not too long after, they arrived at a location high up in the air. This place was shrouded by clouds and mist, with no signs of human activity. Bai Wuya swept out with his immortal sense, and only after confirming that there was no one around did he stop. Senior brother, is the Heavenly Talisman realm located in the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures? Qin Wentian asked. Bai Wuya shook his head. Qin Wentian curiously asked, "Where is it located in the immortal realms then?" "The Heavenly Talisman realm is everywhere." Bai Wuya calmly spoke. His words contained a hint of arrogance. Qin Wentian had no way to understand these words. The Heavenly Talisman realm was everywhere? You don't believe me? Bai Wuya stared at Qin Wentian as he smiled. "I just don't understand senior brother's meaning," Qin Wentian replied. "You will understand when you see it." Bai Wuya smiled and didn't say anything. After that, a series of sounds rang out from his mouth. These sounds were like a chant, drifting unceasingly up into the air, converging into a formless energy that radiated forth in the air, radiating a strange energy. The energy from the incantation art Bai Wuya spat out unceasingly gathered in the air, interweaving together to form a marvelous diagram. After which, a shocking scene appeared. In front of Qin Wentian's eyes, a different dimension actually appeared. This dimension seemed to be independent of the other dimensions, forming a world of its own. There were actually some scenes appearing within, as though this was the corner of a unique world. This. Qin Wentian's gaze froze. The incantations Bai Wuya chanted seemed to have opened a door that led to a world of its own. "Let's go." The voice stopped. Bai Wuya stopped his incantations. With a wave of his hand, he brought Qin Wentian with him as they walked towards that unique scene, directly entering it. After which, the two of them vanished from this dimension. After that, the images vanished as the incantations vanished. The dimension gradually closed up as the clouds and mist shrouded the area. Everything returned to normal. However, at this moment, the shock in Qin Wentian's heart had yet to subside. Just like what he had imagined, what he saw earlier was indeed a corner of a world of its own. This world was none other than the Heavenly Talisman realm. The Heavenly Talisman realm was a world of its own. Just like what Bai Wuya had said, the Heavenly Talisman realm was everywhere. No matter where he was, he would be able to connect to the Heavenly Talisman realm through incantations and enter it. Within the Heavenly Talisman realm, Qin Wentian was currently standing on a green-colored mountain peak. He stared at the world in front of him as intense waves rose in his heart. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor was the ruler of the 13 prefectures. However, even he wouldn't be able to control a world of his own, right? If he entered the tutelage of the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord, The Realm Lord would definitely be in existence, even stronger compared to the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Chapter 753. So this place is the Heavenly Talisman Realm? To think that we can directly enter from the immortal realms. How mystical. Qin Wentian sighed. He was truly shocked. Such a method was simply unfathomable. Yes, it's the Heavenly Talisman Realm. If not, do you think that the first requirement for the Heavenly Talisman Realm is to have a violet gold astral soul? Bai Wuya smiled. In addition, the Heavenly Talisman Realm also requires a disciple of an immortal king to receive them. For those below the immortal king realm, they don't have the qualifications to receive disciples into the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Coincidentally, the day the Eastern sage accepted disciples, I was passing by and happened to meet you. Also, the Heavenly Talisman Realm has another extremely harsh condition. Once you join the Heavenly Talisman Realm, you are not allowed to join any other powers in the immortal realms. If you aren't truly powerful, how would you dare to be so confident? Bai Wuya's voice contained a hint of pride. Qin Wentian nodded. Senior brother, in the future when I enter the Heavenly Talisman Realm, will I be able to use the oracular chant to activate the Heavenly Talisman Realm? Yes, but there's one thing. You are not allowed to bring any outsiders into the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Also, when you enter the Heavenly Talisman Realm, you have to be in a situation where there's no one in the surroundings. If you are really seen by others, you are not allowed to mention the existence of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. The Heavenly Talisman Realm is extremely secretive and has a supervisory immortal general. If you casually enter the Heavenly Talisman Realm or mention this to others, the moment you are discovered, the supervisory immortal general would expel you from the Heavenly Talisman Realm and wipe your memories. In fact, he might even kill you. Bai Wuya solemnly instructed. I understand. Qin Wentian nodded. This was the uniqueness of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. It was mysterious and unfathomable. As to why it was so, Qin Wentian didn't know. Let's go. Follow me to pay your respects to the Realm Lord. Although Master's true body isn't here, he would be able to sense your entrance ceremony. He will officially accept you as a disciple, and from now onwards, whenever you meet other disciples of the same sect in the immortal realms, you would be able to sense their existence and know that they are from the same sect. Bai Wuya brought Qin Wentian along as they continued forward. The Heavenly Talisman Realm was extremely vast, with green mountains and clear waters. The environment here was extremely good, resembling an oasis. The sky was blue and extremely clean, without a speck of dust. White clouds were floating in the sky, and the air was very fresh, which made Qin Wentian's eyes light up. It feels like the whole world is brighter and filled with the aura of life. Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath as an expression of intoxication appeared on his face. In the lake below, fishes could be seen swimming about. The water was transparent, and the reflection of the green trees on the side of the lake was extremely beautiful. The Heavenly Talisman Realm is truly a paradise on earth. Naturally, not only the Heavenly Talisman Realm, the residences of many immortal emperors are all extremely beautiful. Naturally, everyone has their own preferences. For some immortal emperors, their immortal palaces would naturally be majestic and majestic. For some immortal emperors, their immortal palaces would naturally suit their preferences. Bai Wuya spoke. Master should like to live a leisurely and comfortable life. When you see the Heavenly Talisman Palace, you will understand. I'm filled with anticipation. Qin Wentian smiled. The two of them moved very quickly. In the Heavenly Talisman Realm, Qin Wentian saw many buildings and palaces. These were all residences of other people. These are the residences of your senior apprentice brothers and sisters. How is the environment? Bai Wuya smiled. They all know how to enjoy themselves. Qin Wentian glanced at a building in front of a waterfall not far away. The environment was too beautiful. Right above the waterfall, the mist lingered around, resembling an immortal realm. You can construct a palace that belongs to you in the Heavenly Talisman Realm. In the future, you can come here to cultivate. Bai Wuya spoke. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. The Heavenly Talisman Realm was a world of its own. In the future, If he met with powerful enemies in the immortal realms, the heavenly talisman realm could even become a place of refuge. Naturally, he didn't voice out his thoughts. If not, his senior apprentice brother Bai Wuya would definitely look down on him. Haha, Bai Wuya, is this the junior apprentice brother you brought here? At this moment, a voice drifted over. The owner of the voice couldn't be seen. Qin Wentian only saw a silhouette flickering as a halo of light flashed. In front of him, an old man with an unfathomable cultivation base appeared. He was currently smiling at Qin Wentian. Yes, Qin Wentian. I brought him here, and am bringing him to join my sect. Bai Wuya nodded. Not bad. The old man nodded. After that, he turned to Qin Wentian. Work hard. As a fellow disciple of the heavenly talisman realm, in the future if you meet with any problems, feel free to look for me. As the sound of his voice faded, the old man directly vanished, coming and going without a trace. Qin Wentian didn't even see how the old man left. This senior apprentice brother is truly amicable. Qin Wentian smiled. Bai Wuya smiled in his heart. Although they were fellow disciples of the heavenly talisman realm, the heavenly talisman realm was different from the other powers. It had its own unique characteristics. It was already very good for such an expert to appear and greet you. After all, the old man might be a character on the same level as Bai Wuya. If such a character was placed in the immortal realms, it was unknown how many times higher his status was compared to Qin Wentian. The disparity was too great. Qin Wentian wouldn't even have the chance to meet him, let alone come out and greet him, telling him that he could look for him if he needed anything. Indeed. Bai Wuya noncommittally smiled. The two of them continued on their way, and on their way there, they met another two people. One of them nodded his head to them, while the other person merely cast a glance at them before continuing on his way, not stopping for even a moment. Not long after, the 9 dragons waterfall appeared in front of Qin Wentian. The 9 dragons spiraled in the air, soaring up into the clouds, lifting up a terrifying 10,000-meter tall statue. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to see the top even if they inclined their heads. These 9 dragons were like true dragons, imposing and tyrannical, vivid and lifelike, as though they had a life of their own. This statue stood on the heads of the dragons and stared ahead. Just a single glance was sufficient to cause people to feel a deep sense of awe. Is this the realm lord of the heavenly talisman realm? Qin Wentian's heart trembled. This statue was over 10,000 meters tall, and a single palm of his was incomparably gigantic. Above his right hand, there was actually an incomparably gigantic palace. This gigantic palace, when viewed as a whole, seemed extremely tiny and inconsequential. Qin Wentian, this is my master, the realm lord of the heavenly talisman realm. Just kneel and kowtow 3 times and greet me as your disciple. Master will naturally be able to sense your existence. Go on. Bai Wuya transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. He himself retreated far away, and quietly stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian gradually recovered from his shock. He stared at the statue and walked up. He knelt on the praying mat before the statue and kowtowed 3 times. Disciple Qin Wentian pays my respects to Master, the realm lord of the heavenly talisman realm. Qin Wentian slowly spoke, his voice solemn. From now onwards, he would be considered a disciple of the realm lord of the heavenly talisman realm. Qin Wentian's voice drifted forward, and there was actually a faint response. A beam of light appeared on the 9 dragons, extending to the gigantic statue. In an instant, the incomparably gigantic statue started to move, its eyes gleaming with spirit as it stared at Qin Wentian below. Since you joined the heavenly talisman realm, you have to abide by the rules of the heavenly talisman realm. Are you willing? A voice drifted down from the heavens. Qin Wentian respectfully replied, since disciple came to take me as a master, I'm naturally willing. Good. Qin Wentian, from now onwards, you are a disciple of the realm lord of the heavenly talisman realm. You can enter the heavenly talisman palace and browse through the heavenly talisman treasured tome. The voice drifted down once more, directly addressing Qin Wentian by name. This caused Qin Wentian to sigh in his heart. Seems like this statue could truly manifest a spirit. When he knelt to pay his respects to his master, The other party instantly knew that he was here. As the sound of the voice faded, a beam of light directly shot into Qin Wentian, enveloping Qin Wentian. In just an instant, Qin Wentian's entire body shimmered with light as some information appeared in his sea of consciousness. Qin Wentian closed his eyes and sensed for a moment. After that, he bowed to the statue again. Disciple thanks master. Get up. This time, it's the ceremony of taking me as your master. In the future, there's no need for you to kneel when you see me. The heavenly talisman realm lord spoke. After that, the halo of light around him gradually dissipated as the gigantic statue suddenly calmed down. Qin Wentian slowly stood up and bowed to the heavenly talisman realm lord again. This was the first time he truly felt that kind of unparalleled might. Although there wasn't any pressure on him, that sense of might originated from the depths of his soul. Qin Wentian has also seen Dongxing Heaven Emperor before. However, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor still exuded an imposing aura. He didn't feel the same as the Realm Lord. Master has already left. Bai Wuya walked up and spoke to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian inclined his head, staring at the gigantic palace in the hands of the Realm Lord. Enter the Heavenly Talisman Palace, and browse through the Heavenly Talisman Treasure Tome. These were the words the Realm Lord spoke to him earlier. Go ahead, I will wait for you outside. Bai Wuya spoke to Qin Wentian. Many thanks, senior brother. This time around, Qin Wentian bowed slightly to Bai Wuya, feeling gratitude in his heart. Originally, he and Bai Wuya were strangers, but they only met once. Despite being an immortal king, Bai Wuya didn't have any arrogance at all, leading him into the heavenly talisman realm and treating him like this. Back then at the banquet, Bai Wuya was cold and aloof in front of the other immortal kings. This should be what made him unique. Facing immortal kings, he could be so calm and collected, but facing a junior like him, he could be so amicable. Such a temperament was already incomparable to ordinary people. Qin Wentian naturally felt extremely grateful in his heart. Since I led you into the sect, I naturally hope that you will have some accomplishments. There's no need for thanks. Bai Wuya patted Qin Wentian on his shoulder. Qin Wentian smiled and didn't say anything more. After that, his silhouette flickered as he flew towards the Heavenly Talisman Palace in the air. As though sensing Qin Wentian's arrival, the resplendent gates of the palace actually opened automatically. After that, Qin Wentian walked in. Chapter 754. The towering statue had a gigantic palm that was hundreds of meters in size, supporting a majestic palace. Qin Wentian stepped into it and directly vanished from sight. The Heavenly Talisman Palace, the palace controlled by the Realm Lord. In the Great Hall, Qin Wentian stood there as golden light illuminated the skies, cascading down on him unceasingly. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the air. Over there, the entire Great Hall was like a painting, filled with resplendent runic light. Heavenly Talisman Palace. Qin Wentian stared at the three words in the air. Beams of light directly entered Qin Wentian's sea of consciousness. Qin Wentian immediately closed his eyes and simply stood there, as though he had entered a meditative state. This is the Heavenly Talisman Treasured Tome. It isn't the same as the other cultivation arts. There are only some introductory words, and the rest have to be comprehended by oneself. As for how much one can comprehend, it all depends on one's own comprehension ability. After some time, Qin Wentian opened his eyes again. He slowly stepped into the Heavenly Talisman Palace as he immersed himself in the mysteriousness of the painting. This flowing painting seemed to be the same as the one Tian comprehended in the Vermilion Bird Immortal Palace. However, it was even more mysterious and profound. Runes, the source of the laws of heaven and earth, the source of energy. A voice rang out in Qin Wentian's mind. In that instant earlier, a huge amount of information flowed into his mind. These were all the insights the Realm Lord had regarding runes, as well as the introductory words of the Heavenly Talisman Treasured Tome. In the Heavenly Talisman Treasured Tome, runes were the source of energy. As for why stellar martial cultivators could cultivate, it was naturally because of astral energy. Astral energy was the source of all cultivators. However, If one only had astral energy, they would be able to strengthen their physique. But how would they attack? Innate techniques, cultivation arts, all sorts of techniques. What were the origins of all these? It was because there was a mysterious energy that could unleash astral energy, transforming it into tyrannical attacks. Very few people would try to find out what this mysterious energy was because there was no way to do so. Nobody could explain it. They could only say that this was a type of law, an inherent law of the heavens and earth. The Heavenly Talisman Treasured Tome had clearly explained this rule. He felt that this rule needed to be triggered. Once the power of the stars came into contact with the runes, it would be able to draw upon the laws of the universe and give birth to power. According to the Heavenly Talisman Treasured Tome, astral energy and inscriptions were the foundation of all energy. They were the source of all energy. They triggered the inherent laws of the heavens and earth. And from there, power was born, capable of moving mountains and draining seas, capable of destroying the heavens and earth. The more powerful the astral energy and divine inscriptions, the more terrifying the law energy would be. Hence, there were different levels of cultivation, as well as different grades of divine inscriptions. What a powerful comprehension! Qin Wentian was truly stunned. Although he had already faintly sensed this point long ago, he had no way to explain it. He had never met anyone who tried to analyze it until this time around, when he came to the Heavenly Talisman Palace. Qin Wentian believed in the Realm Lord's insights. This wasn't because the Realm Lord was powerful. True trust could only come from the approval of the Realm Lord in one's heart. Why were divine weapons called divine weapons? Because divine weapons contain the power of divine inscriptions. The grade of a divine weapon was determined by the divine inscriptions. In that case, if a divine weapon was placed there with no one to control it, would there be any use? There was no use at all. Someone had to infuse astral energy into it, activating the divine inscriptions and triggering the might of the divine weapon. In other words, only when astral energy and divine inscriptions met would they be able to trigger the inherent laws of the universe, giving birth to a powerful attack. Where did the power of innate techniques originate from? If innate techniques were broken down, they would still be inseparable from divine inscriptions. When an innate technique was unleashed, the first step was naturally astral energy. The might unleashed wasn't solely dependent on astral energy. If not, why would the same innate technique unleash different might when used by people at the same cultivation level? Because the comprehension was different, the usage would be different. In the past, Qin Wentian had also considered this question many times. Because of the existence of the spiritual refinement method, he had long started to think about it. He borrowed the power of the spiritual refinement method to condense divine energy in his body. As long as he unleashed his divine energy, it would be able to unleash its power. Why? Because divine energy itself was formed from the fusion of divine inscriptions and astral energy. Once it was unleashed from his body, it would instantly trigger the laws of the universe, resulting in the eruption of might. Now that he thought about it, Qin Wentian could feel how profound the spiritual refinement method was. This was something his father left behind for him. Other than the spiritual refinement method, there was also the Fiend God body refinement art. This was also a body refinement art left behind by his father, and it had the same effect as the spiritual refinement method. In the introduction of the Heavenly Talisman Treasured Tome, there was also a detailed explanation of innate techniques. He believed that everyone had the ability to create laws, it was just that this type of ability was different. Because innate techniques were created by stellar martial cultivators, they had to use their own comprehensions and unceasingly experiment, using their own methods to activate the power of laws, creating innate techniques. However, humans were also stupid. The vast majority of people's creation of innate techniques would only be limited to improving and strengthening the innate techniques of their predecessors. Very few people would be able to completely create their own laws. When he thought of this, Qin Wentian couldn't help but perspire. In the past, he had never considered this question in detail. Now that he thought about it, it was indeed the case. Although he was already at the celestial phenomenon realm, and could modify some weaker innate techniques to make them stronger, That was all based on the foundation of his predecessors. Right now, could he create a brand new innate technique? Even if it was an extremely weak innate technique, he discovered that it was extremely difficult for him to do so. According to the Heavenly Talisman treasured tome, regardless of weaponsmithing or martial cultivation, they were originally one, inseparable. Their essence was to trigger the laws of the universe. The Heavenly Talisman treasured tome was precisely to probe into this type of law energy. At the same time, one would be able to comprehend and use it, allowing one to see through the essence of any type of energy and become even more powerful. At this moment, Qin Wentian suddenly thought of something. In the past, he was able to comprehend innate techniques with ease, and his cultivation speed was faster compared to others. Not only that, the might he could unleash was also extremely powerful. Was the spiritual refinement method part of this? Because of the existence of the spiritual refinement method, unknowingly, he was already probing into the essence of energy. It's really broad and profound. Qin Wentian silently mused. The Heavenly Talisman treasured tome allowed you to comprehend the essence of energy, allowing you to comprehend it. The more you comprehend, the more profound your understanding of energy would be. Such an experience was extremely precious to stellar martial cultivators. The Heavenly Talisman treasured tome also described other types of law energy in the universe. For example, true intent. But most importantly, it was still at the level of inscriptions. In the Heavenly Talisman treasured tome, there were different names for the divine inscriptions of the world. Divine inscriptions should be the pinnacle of inscriptions. Low-level inscriptions couldn't even be called divine inscriptions, they could only be called runic inscriptions. Sixth-level runic inscriptions could be called immortal inscriptions, and could be used to forge immortal-ranked divine weapons. After a long period of contemplation, Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the flowing space in the painting once more. It was as though he had gained a brand new level of comprehension, and he could sense how vast and boundless it was. In fact, he could even sense some extremely powerful energy from it. The Heavenly Talisman treasured tome was a treasure tome that gathered many types of energy together. The prerequisite was that you had to be able to comprehend it. Once you could comprehend it, it would become a power that belonged to you. Very swiftly, Qin Wentian was completely immersed in it, unable to extricate himself. For the first time, he felt as though he had found the source of all the insights he gained in the past. This feeling was too wondrous. He felt as though he was enlightened, as though he had found a brand new door. This realm lord who was able to establish a world was simply too amazing. Qin Wentian already had a deep sense of reverence in his heart towards this master of his, that he had never met before. Outside the Heavenly Talisman Palace, Wuxia quietly stood on the ground. He casually stood there, as though he was one with the heavens and earth. Just like that, he stood there for 3 months. For an entire 3 months, Qin Wentian still hadn't exited the Heavenly Talisman Palace. Only to see at this moment, a silhouette flickered over, instantly arriving here. That person walked to the entrance of the Heavenly Talisman Palace, and discovered that the entrance was still closed. A strange expression flashed in his eyes as he lowered his head and stared at Wuxia. Wuxia, has this junior apprentice brother not exited yet? Wuxia nodded lightly. He didn't reply. Do you think he's forcing himself to play around inside? That person joked. Back then when you came here for the first time, I remember you stayed in there for 2 months before exiting. This junior apprentice brother who's only at the 2nd level of celestial phenomenon actually managed to comprehend it for 3 months? Everyone's aptitude is different. Back then 2 months was already my limit. I had no way to comprehend anything else. Now that junior apprentice brother Qin hasn't exited for 3 months, we should be happy for him. Wuxia calmly replied. Haha, you can put it that way. I'm just afraid that he clearly has no way to comprehend anything, yet he still chose to stay inside. That person laughed. During these 100 years, I've been reading the Heavenly Talisman treasured tome, and comprehended a supremely powerful immortal art. I can already sense that it's about to be completed. But now, you actually brought a little fellow here to occupy the Heavenly Talisman Palace. No wonder you would frequently come to the Heavenly Talisman Palace during these years. So it turns out that you've already comprehended something. Bai Wuyao inclined his head and stared at the person in the air. This person was a middle-aged man with fair skin and a majestic appearance. He had been reading the Heavenly Talisman treasured tome for 100 years, and comprehended a single immortal art from it. If this was known to Qin Wentian, he would definitely be extremely shocked. Because with his current strength, although he had comprehended several powerful innate techniques from the Heavenly Talisman treasured tome for 3 months, he couldn't see any traces of an immortal art at all. Naturally, this was because his cultivation base wasn't high enough. In the Heavenly Talisman treasured tome, the stronger one's comprehension was, the deeper one's comprehension would be. Chapter 755. As to why Qin Wentian didn't exit the treasure tome, it wasn't because he wanted to dig too deeply into the innate techniques within. Rather, it was because he wanted to spend more time and effort on comprehending the runes that could trigger the laws of heaven and earth, trying to comprehend them from the very foundation. Every rune, no matter how low-leveled it was, would be able to trigger law energy to launch an attack. There were also many manifestations of runes, hidden within sword light, within palm imprints, and even within a single gaze. Ever since Qin Wentian started cultivating until now, he had cultivated many innate techniques, but he had never tried to comprehend them from the very foundation. Right now, just by looking at the treasured tome, Qin Wentian could already see the process of law energy being activated by each innate ability. For example, right now Qin Wentian was sitting cross-legged. His perception was focused on the mysterious picture scroll. It was as though there was only something inside. This picture scroll was all-encompassing, as vast as the abyss, unfathomably deep, containing countless transformations. At this moment, he was paying attention to one of the transformations. That was the might of a giant elephant. Boundless runic light flashed, transforming into a terrifying leg art. This leg art resembled a demonic elephant trampling the heavens. Its thick hooves could suppress the heavens and earth, exuding boundless might. The transformation process of this innate technique was constantly changing under Qin Wentian's perception, imprinting it into his mind. A resplendent light radiated from Qin Wentian, after which, he soared up into the air, as though he was within the picture scroll of the Heavenly Talisman treasure tome. He casually stomped downwards, causing rumbling sounds to echo out as the heavens and earth trembled. An incomparably gigantic elephant hoof stomped downwards. If someone was below Qin Wentian, they would definitely be trampled to death. Amazing, cultivating like this, powerful innate techniques are at his fingertips. Qin Wentian silently mused. He closed his eyes again and floated up in the air, immersing himself in this world of the treasure tome. Time slowly flowed by. Bai Wuyao was still quietly waiting outside the Heavenly Talisman Palace. The other expert felt even more depressed. This time around, he had a sudden impulse and wanted to enter the Heavenly Talisman Palace. However, the rules of the Heavenly Talisman Palace dictated that only one person could enter at a time. Now that Qin Wentian occupied the Heavenly Talisman Palace, he could only wait outside. Within the worry-free city, it had already been over 100 days since Qin Wentian participated in the Amorsi's Residence's wagered battle. During this period of time, the wagered battle had never stopped. It was held once every 7 days. However, if one were to talk about the commotion caused by the wagered battle, it did not surpass the one Qin Wentian participated in. News of the gambling battle back then had already circulated out. Back then, the Amorsi's Residence used the Sky Demon Oracle Bone as the wager, allowing experts to participate in the gambling battle. Xieyu, Han Luo, Zhao Yuyan and the rest of the most dazzling geniuses of the worry-free city all participated in this gambling battle. However, none of them obtained the Sky Demon Oracle Bone. In the end, the Sky Demon Oracle Bone didn't land in the hands of an expert proficient in divine inscriptions. Instead, it was snatched away by a handsome young man at the second level of celestial phenomenon. This young man had a mysterious background and no one knew his name. His cultivation base could be considered one of the weakest among the participants. After obtaining the Sky Demon Oracle Bone, he initially wanted to leave but Zhao Yuyan refused, wanting to forcefully snatch it away. The two of them clashed, and after a grand battle, the 4th-level ascendant Zhao Yuyan was actually defeated. As the disciple of the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect, a genius of the sect, she was actually defeated by someone 2 levels higher than her. This caused a huge commotion, especially when the immortal sense of her master, the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect, appeared. However, a white-robed silhouette also appeared beside the mysterious young man. As the sound of the word scram faded, the immortal sense of the Supreme Elder of the Golden Armor Sect vanished. After that, the two of them left, not even bothering to kill Zhao Yuyan. After that, Xie Yu and Han Luo also tried to search for that mysterious young man, but to no avail. In the Qin clan of the Worry-Free City, Qin Feng and Qin Qing were both searching for Qin Wentian. Ever since Qin Wentian left the Qin clan, he had never appeared again. Both of them were extremely anxious in their hearts. At this moment in the Qin clan, Qin Feng's uncle and Qin Feng had a huge conflict. After Qin Feng chased his uncle away, his expression was extremely unsightly to behold. He then spoke to Qin Qing. "Qin Qing, let's go and tell Grandpa, he is getting more and more overboard. It's useless, he didn't do anything to us. If we tell Grandpa would at most be angry for a while." Qin Qing shook her head. Her face was red from anger. Just earlier, Qin Feng's uncle ran over to tell them that there would be a supreme character coming to the Worry-Free City. The City Lord Manor was currently preparing to welcome him, and was gathering beauties from the Worry-Free City. Qin Qing wanted her to go and register for the event, as she might have a chance to be selected. As long as she could become one of the serving girls, she would be able to come into contact with characters of that level. If she was chosen by any character, she would definitely soar to glory. Qin Feng and Qin Qing were so angered that they almost went crazy. What did this bastard treat Qin Qing as? It was as though he wanted nothing more than to chase Qin Qing out of the Qin clan. In fact, he was treating Qin Qing as a job. Damn it. Qin Feng spat hatefully. Forget it. Qin Qing shook her head. Is there any news of Big Brother Qin? Why hasn't he returned after such a long time? Did something really happen to him? That won't happen. Big Brother Qin's strength should be okay. Nothing will happen to him. Qin Feng shook his head. Let's hope so. Qin Qing furrowed her brows. Actually, she knew that Qin Feng was also very worried. After being acquainted for a period of time, they had already treated Qin Wentian as a close friend. Also, after interacting with him for a period of time, they knew that given Qin Wentian's personality, if he really wanted to leave, he would definitely inform them. But this time he disappeared without saying a word. They were truly worried that something bad might have happened. After all, in the immortal realms, death was a very common thing. If one offended someone they shouldn't have, they might meet a calamity of death. At this moment, in the City Lord Manor of the Worry-Free City, the atmosphere was as imposing and tyrannical as a royal palace. Even the hegemonic powers of the particle worlds in the lower realms wouldn't have such majestic buildings. In a great hall, the female City Lord and her husband were both present. The female City Lord was a beautiful middle-aged woman clad in fox fur robes. Her figure was exquisite and her beautiful eyes were resplendent, exuding a sense of charm. The name of the female City Lord was Buyenyu. Beside her, there was an extremely muscular man with thick brows and large eyes. His hair was golden and his physique was filled with explosive power. This man was none other than a hegemonic character of a particle world. His original self was a demonic beast that has stepped into the immortal foundation realm, becoming a demon immortal. His name was Xiesher. In the Great Hall, there were many people present, including the son of the City Lord, Xieyu. There's still 7 days before they arrive. Have the preparations been made? Buyenyu asked the people below. Reporting to City Lord, the preparations are already underway. A person replied. This is a rare opportunity. You have to grasp it well. Xieyu, if you can form a good relationship with them, you would have a chance to soar up into the heavens in the future. Hence you have to prepare well. Buyenyu spoke to her son Xieyu. The preparations are already underway. It's just that the Sky Demon Oracle Bone was stolen by an unknown character back then. How hateful. A cold light flashed in Xieyu's eyes. Back then, He prepared the Sky Demon Oracle Bone precisely for the sake of those people who were about to arrive. He had long since received the news and had been preparing for it. It was just that he had failed back then. Let's not talk about things of the past. You won't be able to find that person anyway. What's important is what will happen next. Are all the beauties being selected? The golden-haired Xiesher's voice was loud and clear. The moment he spoke, the entire great hall was filled with echoes. I'm currently preparing, but I don't know if it will be effective or not. Xiaoyu calmly replied. How many men in the world don't love beauties? Strength comes first, beauty second. I told you to prepare more because I want to cater to the tastes of those people. There will always be a suitable one. Young and beautiful ones, seductive ones. Prepare them all and mobilize the entire worry-free city. No matter what methods we use, we have to gather enough beauties for me. Xiesher spoke in a loud voice. Right. Xiaoyu nodded. His gaze turned to a middle-aged man sitting in the great hall as he spoke. Hurry up and make the preparations. We won't force those immortal rank powers. We can just invite them to be our guests. I believe they will be willing. As for those ordinary characters, just bring them to the City Lord Manor after you have selected them. Tell them that the City Lord Manor won't mistreat them. Yes, I will do that right away. That person nodded and left the great hall, giving out orders. The people of the City Lord Manor of the Worry-Free City also started to move. Very swiftly, the entire worry-free city received a piece of news. In the near future, a major character from the Cloud Prefecture would come to the worry-free city. It said that this person came from a sacred ground of the Cloud Prefecture and had an extremely high status. The City Lord Manor of the worry-free city started to invite experts from all over to accompany him. At the same time, they also gathered all the beauties of the worry-free city to be his attendants, causing many beautiful women with no background to be stirred. To them, wasn't this a rare opportunity? The entire worry-free city became lively. Within the Golden Armor sect, on a beautiful green mountain, Zhao Yuyan had already ended her seclusion. She quietly stood there, staring into the distance. A sacred ground of the Cloud Prefecture? Zhao Yuyan mumbled. Her gaze turned to a towering immortal palace behind her as a cold light flashed in her eyes. Master, you will regret this. After speaking, Zhao Yuyan walked out of the Golden Armor sect. She wanted to go to the City Lord Manor and become a female attendant. She was willing to do so. She wasn't willing to accept what she had experienced these past few days. Chapter 756. The Cloud Prefecture had a total of 81 counties and countless cities. Outside the cities, there were countless major powers. However, the number of major powers that could truly stand at the peak of the Cloud Prefecture weren't many. But for the Jiang clan of the Cloud Prefecture, it could definitely be said to be one of the major powers at the peak of the Cloud Prefecture, unexcelled in the world. The Jiang clan could be traced back to an extremely ancient era. There was a grandmaster weaponsmith named Jiang Chao who had heaven-defying weaponsmithing abilities. Even immortal emperors would often ask him for help, wanting him to help them forge supreme immortal weapons. However, the Jiang clan that Jiang Chao founded was too domineering. Hence, they were extremely arrogant and had no one in their eyes. Hence, they offended many people, and Jiang Chao even had a mortal enemy with an extremely powerful cultivation base. The two of them fought a heaven-shaking battle, and his opponent killed Jiang Chao head-on. However, he didn't expect that Jiang Chao's weaponsmithing abilities had already reached the heavens. Jiang Chao even forged his own body into an immortal weapon, and before his death, he retaliated with a final strike, causing both of them to perish together. After Jiang Chao died, many enemies he had offended all came knocking on his door. Naturally, many of them coveted the immortal weapons and treasures of the Jiang clan he founded. At that time, Jiang Chao's name already shook the immortal realms, and he was extremely wealthy. Naturally, there were many people who had designs on the Jiang clan. Hence, a bloody war erupted and the Jiang clan encountered an unprecedented calamity. Jiang Chao was indeed Jiang Chao. He forged the defenses of the Jiang clan into an impenetrable fortress that was extremely hard to break through. After that war, It was unknown how many experts of the Jiang clan died, but the Jiang clan also suffered many casualties as they plundered many immortal weapons. After that, as the era changed, the Jiang clan encountered a few more calamities as they struggled their way to where they are today. Although the Jiang clan no longer had the splendor Jiang Chao had in the past, they had experienced countless storms. But even so, when the Dongxing Heaven Emperor ruled the 13 prefectures, the Jiang clan was still able to stand stably in the Cloud Prefecture, becoming a sacred ground. It was unknown how many people admired them and wanted to enter. Not only because they wanted to cultivate the martial path, they also didn't want to learn how to weaponsmith. That was the Holy Land founded by Jiang Chao, a place of pilgrimage for master craftsmen in the Cloud State. Currently, many of the rumors in Worry-Free City were related to the Jiang clan. In an extremely short period of time, the stories of the Jiang clan were repeated in the inns. Of course, as long as one was slightly older, they would basically have heard of the Jiang clan and Jiang Chao. After all, the Jiang clan's reputation was too great. Experts of the Jiang clan were about to descend upon Worry-Free City. How could this not cause a commotion? Outside the entrance of the City Lord Manor, Zhao Yuyan quietly stood there, her eyes flashing with determination. After which, she lifted her feet and sped towards the direction of the City Lord Manor. This time around, she wouldn't turn back unless she bumped into the southern wall. As the supreme elder of the Golden Armor sect, her master had given her the cold shoulder, imprisoning her. In that case, she would grab hold of her future once again. Even if she had to pay any price, she wouldn't hesitate. However, not everyone had the same thoughts as Zhao Yuyan. Right now, the entire Qin clan was in an uproar. In the courtyard of Qin Qing's residence, there were many people there. The sounds of commotion could be heard. It seemed that there was a dispute going on. Qin Qing, even if you don't want to go, you still have to go. I've already reported your name. The city lord will come here today to bring you over. This is a chance for my Qin clan. An indifferent voice rang out. The person who spoke was none other than Qin Qing's uncle. Qin Shao, you bastard! Qin Feng roared in rage, the veins on his body bulged. He had never expected that this uncle of his would actually do such a despicable thing this time around. Grandpa, you have to seek justice for elder sister. Qin Feng stared at his grandpa Qin Mu as he spoke. What a vile spawn. To think that you don't know the difference between seniors and juniors, even daring to insult me. I will cripple you. Qin Xiao stepped out heavily as his aura gushed forth, pressing down on Qin Feng. Stop! An explosive roar rang out. Qin Mu also had an expression of rage on his face. He stared at Qin Xiao. Who asked you to do this? Do you still have me, the clan leader of the Qin clan, in your eyes? Uncle, I do want to respect you. However, the things you've done during these years have truly caused this nephew's heart to turn cold. Qin Xiao stared at Qin Mu as he spoke. Back then when Qin Feng's parents were still alive, you shielded them in every possible way, giving them all the good cultivation resources. After that, they unfortunately died, and you still doted on Qin Feng and his sister in every possible way, allowing them to enjoy the cultivation resources first. Are you really thinking for the sake of the entire clan? Since when is it your turn to speak in this clan? Qin Mu angrily rebuked. Boss, it's not a big deal for the juniors to express their views. In addition, Qin Zhao's words aren't without reason. At this moment, an old man at the side spoke. Qin Mu turned his gaze over, staring at his cousins as he swept his gaze over them one by one. What do you all mean by this? Qin Mu suppressed his anger as he stared at the people in front of him. The eyes of these people were filled with dissatisfaction towards him, the clan leader. Seems like this wasn't a temporary matter. I don't mean anything. I just feel that Qin Zhao's words are right. Everything he does is for the sake of our Qin clan. This is a rare opportunity and the other clans are all fighting to grab it. Qin Qing is so beautiful and pure. She might even catch the eye of a major character from the Jiang clan. At that time, our Qin clan would soar up into the heavens with a single leap, possessing a heaven-blessed advantage. In fact, we might even become one of the most influential clans in the Worry-Free City. With such an opportunity right in front of you, Qin Mu, are you going to give it up just like that? That person slowly spoke, his tone cold. Qin Mu stared at him. Just like what you said, the entire worry-free city is fighting to be the first. Do you think it's so easy to catch the eye of a major character? In addition, so what even if she caught the eye of a major character? Would those lofty characters dote on a female? To those major characters from the Holy Lands, even if they fancied a female, they would only do so for fun. They wouldn't spend too much effort on a female. By doing this, it was undoubtedly pushing Qin into a pit of fire. No matter what, we still have to try. That person continued. Qin Mu stared at him as an indistinct pressure radiated from him. Am I the clan lord, or are you the clan lord? Qin Mu, if you don't care about the benefits of your clan, I have nothing more to say. The people from the City Lord Manor have already arrived. Right now, things can no longer be salvaged. Even if Qin doesn't want to go, she has no choice but to go. That person's voice was as calm as ever. And at the same time he spoke, the sound of wind whistling could be heard from afar. An instant later, several figures appeared. The person in the lead stood in the air as he spoke. Where is Qin? Here. The old man from the Qin clan who spoke to Qin Mu called out. After that, those figures walked over, and their gazes landed on Qin. This female's looks were truly outstanding, and she looked extremely pure. She wasn't bad at all. Come with us, the man said indifferently. No. Qin Feng blocked Qin's path. She can't follow you guys. That expert frowned as a cold light flickered in his eyes. Qin Feng, how dare you? The old man from the Qin clan berated. Scram. Senior, my elder sister has never registered herself. These people acted on their own. I beg for Senior's forgiveness. Please don't bring my elder sister along. Qin Feng spoke. Scram. That person had a cold expression as he stared down at Qin Feng. Senior. Qin Feng's eyes turned red as his countenance turned pale. However, he only saw the other party waving his hands. Bring her away. Senior, please spare my elder sister. With a putong sound, Qin Feng knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the expert from the City Lord Manor. Senior, please forgive me. Scram. That person had a look of anger on his face. No. Qin Feng refused to budge. Qin Mu also walked over and spoke to the expert from the City Lord Manor. My granddaughter didn't do this willingly. Please forgive her this once. How impudent. That person coldly spoke. Capture him. After speaking, he stepped out as well. With a heavy wave of his hand, a muffled boom rang out as astral light flashed. A terrifying saber light directly slashed down with the speed of lightning. Qin Mu's countenance paled. He similarly released his aura. He lifted his hand and retracted his attack as an astral shield appeared, shining with a diamond-like light. However, under the might of the saber light, the astral shield was broken apart as his body was directly forced back. Humph. That expert coldly snorted as he continued walking towards Qin Mu. His palms grabbed out in the air as tens of thousands of saber lights erupted forth, converging into a terrifying gigantic saber in front of Qin Mu. As the saber slashed out, the sound of the wind whistling could be heard as the entire space was cleaved into two. Qin Mu's countenance turned pale. Astral light radiated from his body as it transformed into an incomparably large shield. When the gigantic saber slashed down, the entire space trembled. After which, the saber directly disintegrated, transforming into fragments that pierced into Qin Mu's body. Piercing sounds rang out unceasingly. Qin Mu groaned in misery as his countenance turned pale. Fresh blood seeped out from all over his body as he retreated unceasingly. That expert didn't continue attacking. He merely coldly glanced at Qin Mu. As for the other side, Qin Feng was directly flung out. The experts from the City Lord Manor were holding Qin captive. The two of them had no strength to resist at all. Grandpa Qin Feng. Qin saw that both of them were injured as tears flowed down her face. Release my sister. Qin Feng rushed over in rage, yet he only saw one of the experts lashing out with a kick. With a thunderous boom, Qin Feng's body was directly flung through the air. Don't bother about me, I'll go. Qin roared. Despair could be seen in her eyes. Qin Mu endured his injuries and stood up, Yet a few elders from the Qin clan directly surrounded him. The old man who argued with him earlier spoke. Clan lord is muddle-headed, bring him away. You guys, how dare you? Qin Mu stared at the people before him. He only saw the experts from the city lord manor coldly glancing at him before turning and bringing Qin Qing away. In the air, Qin Qing turned her head, glancing at Qin Mu and Qin Feng. An intense pain could be seen in her eyes. It was all her fault for harming her grandpa and Qin Feng. Chapter 757. In the Qin clan, after Qin Qing was brought away, the clan lord, Qin Mu, was injured and was captured by the Qin clan. Qin Mu naturally realized this. Right now, these people were all extremely depressed. Seems like they had long been unhappy with him, and now, they finally decided to use an outsider to deal with him. As for all of this, Qin Wentian, who was in the heavenly talisman realm, had no idea. He had comprehended the heavenly devil art for a long time, and had even refined the sky demon oracle bone in the heavenly talisman palace, tempering his body to cultivate the fiend god body refinement art, causing his body to grow even stronger. His entire body was like that of a fiend god, and when he circulated his cultivation art, resplendent runic light would circulate around him, as though he was clad in fiend god armor. After his cultivation, Qin Wentian finally walked out of the heavenly talisman palace. That expert outside was still waiting there. When he saw Qin Wentian walking out, he stared at him with a depressed expression. Little brat, you are finally willing to come out. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he stared at the person before him, after which he politely replied. Qin Wentian pays his respects to senior brother. MHM. That person nodded. He directly appeared beside Qin Wentian and slapped out with his palm, landing on Qin Wentian's shoulder. A powerful surge of energy directly permeated into Qin Wentian's body, causing the bones in Qin Wentian's body to emit cracking sounds as though a terrifying energy was circulating through him. Not bad. That expert calmly spoke. After that, he stepped into the heavenly talisman palace. Earlier, Qin Wentian, who was still feeling the pressure, instantly felt a sense of relaxation, as though the bones in his body were all cleared up. Awesome. Qin Wentian praised. As expected of the heavenly talisman realm. Seems like this junior brother of his should be the weakest in this realm. There were simply too many people stronger than him. Any one of them was on the same level as Bai Wuya. This was simply too powerful. They might have originated from all over the immortal realms. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor only controlled the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. The immortal realms were simply too vast, and there were simply too many experts here. Do you want to know more about other places? Bai Wuya looked at Qin Wentian and said, Of course you are still weak. Even if you step into other places, it will be useless. For example, some missions and rewards are impossible for you to complete. How difficult? Qin Wentian asked curiously. There are all sorts of difficulties. I've seen some missions that are more difficult, such as establishing an immortal empire and becoming an immortal emperor. Bai Wuya spoke. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. He looked at Bai Wuya and said, Senior brother Bai, even a senior brother completed such a mission? Yes. Bai Wuya nodded. Qin Wentian's body couldn't help but sway slightly. Someone had actually completed it. There was a senior brother from the heavenly talisman realm, who became an immortal emperor of an empire? This was too terrifying. The power of the heavenly talisman realm was so strong that it was shocking to hear. Such a power actually concealed itself so strictly. Once it was revealed to the outside world. How terrifying would that be? In that case, I will go out first. I've already stayed here for quite some time. Qin Wentian smiled. I'm sure. I will send you out first. Use an incantation to communicate with the heavenly talisman realm, and a spatial passageway will appear. You will return to where you came from. Bai Wuya explained to Qin Wentian. After that, he brought Qin Wentian back to where they came from. When they returned to the place where they entered the heavenly talisman realm, spatial fluctuations could be felt. Bai Wuya chanted, and a moment later, a bright light flashed as the spatial passageway appeared once more. The situation outside could be seen clearly like a mirror. There's no one here. You can leave now. In the future, you can enter by yourself, but you must remember not to lure others in to hide from your enemies. That would be a violation of the rules of the Heavenly Talisman realm. The supervisory immortal generals would immediately find you and punish you. Only death awaits you. Only if you were discovered by others unintentionally would the supervisory immortal generals be lenient. Bai Wuya solemnly reminded. Qin Wentian nodded. If this was allowed, the Heavenly Talisman realm would have long been exposed. Hence, this rule was very strict. Right, I will remember it. Many thanks, senior brother Bai. Qin Wentian clasped his hands to Bai Wuya. Since I'm the one who guided you into the Heavenly Talisman realm, I naturally hope that you would have some accomplishments. It would be best if you can become a character of great influence in the Heavenly Talisman realm, and meet with Master personally. Bai Wuya's voice was sincere. Qin Wentian felt gratitude in his heart, but he didn't say anything more. He turned and headed towards the passageway. Following the passageway, Qin Wentian directly exited the Heavenly Talisman realm, and returned to the airspace above the worry-free city. Clouds and mist shrouded the area. Qin Wentian determined his direction and sped away. The gateway to the Heavenly Talisman realm had long closed, as though it had never opened before. It was extremely mystical. After being away for so long, he wondered how Qin Feng's cultivation was progressing. Upon thinking of Qin Qing and Qin Feng, a faint smile could be seen in Qin Wentian's eyes. This pair of kind-hearted siblings were extremely interesting, and gave people a sense of closeness. Other than Bai Wuya and Sword Saintly Mu Bai, Qin Feng and Qin Qing were the only people he was closer to. Qin Wentian took out a transportation treasure and soared through the air with extreme speed. Not too long later, he arrived in the airspace above the Qin clan. Keeping the treasures, Qin Wentian soared through the air, directly heading towards the courtyard where Qin Feng and Qin Qing were staying. However, when he landed in the courtyard, he frowned. He discovered that Qin Feng and Qin Qing weren't in the courtyard. What's going on? Qin Wentian silently mused. He only saw a few silhouettes walking over. All of them were young men and women. They stared at Qin Wentian with hostility in their eyes. You are Qin Wentian, right? One of the maidens calmly asked. Where are Qin Feng and Qin Qing? Qin Wentian didn't reply, but directly asked. This place will belong to us in the future. As for where they are, it's none of your business. Just leave, the Qin clan doesn't welcome you. The maiden inclined her head, resembling an arrogant princess. It was as though she was extremely unhappy with Qin Wentian. Hence, the words that came out of her mouth were extremely impolite. The moment Qin Wentian arrived, she already issued the expulsion order, telling Qin Wentian to leave the Qin clan. What happened? Qin Wentian instantly furrowed his brows. Qin Feng and Qin Qing's grandfather, Qin Mu, was the controller of the Qin clan. If nothing major happened, it was impossible for the place where Qin Feng and Qin Qing were staying to be occupied by others. Didn't I say that the Qin clan doesn't welcome you? Do you want us to tell you to scram before you are willing to leave? A young man around 18 or 19 years of age was even more impulsive. He impolitely berated Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian didn't look at him. His perception swept out, enveloping the entire Qin clan. Not long after, in a corner of the Qin clan, Qin Wentian's perception discovered Qin Feng. An ice-cold aura gushed forth from Qin Wentian as the look in his eyes turned incomparably cold. Qin Feng was injured. Not only was he injured, he was also imprisoned. At this moment, the helpless him was sitting in a corner of that dirty little house. His entire body was dirty, his hair was messy, and his aura was extremely weak. The masculine young man from before was now like a beggar, in an extremely miserable state. Upon seeing this scene, how could Qin Wentian not be enraged? In addition, Qin Mu was imprisoned as well. His injuries were even more severe. As for Qin Qing, she wasn't in the Qin clan. Qin Wentian turned and directly walked in the direction of Qin Feng. Stop there! The young man and woman behind him roared in rage. There were even some who stepped forth, directly launching attacks at Qin Wentian. The palm imprint of a young man directly slammed into Qin Wentian's back. However, runic light flashed from Qin Wentian's body as a terrifying force directly blasted that young man through the air. With a thunderous boom, even the fake mountain in the courtyard was shattered. That young man coughed out blood and fainted. The expressions of the others froze as they stared at the back view of Qin Wentian. The people of the Qin clan sensed the commotion and stepped out. At this moment, Qin Wentian only took a few steps and arrived at the room where Qin Feng was imprisoned. He lifted his palms and blasted out, directly shattering the room into smithereens. Qin Feng, Qin Wentian called out. Qin Feng inclined his head. His eyes were bloodshot, but there was no spirit in them. His voice was extremely weak as he called out, "Big brother Qin. Eat this pill." Qin Wentian took out a pill and fed it to Qin Feng. Qin Feng's injuries rapidly recovered. He inclined his head and stared at Qin Wentian. "Big brother Qin, don't worry about me. Quickly leave the Qin clan." "It's fine. Qin Feng, where's your sister?" Qin Wentian helped Qin Feng up as he asked. This kind-hearted little fellow still wanted him to leave even now. Speaking of which, Qin Wentian and Qin Feng could be considered to have a master-disciple relationship. Although Qin Wentian didn't officially accept him as a disciple, Qin Wentian knew that Qin Wentian was his disciple. "Sister," Qin Feng murmured. After which, his eyes turned even redder as tears flowed out. He spoke in rage. "Those bastards actually sent my sister to the City Lord Manor, and even took the opportunity to let the City Lord Manor's people deal with Grandpa, controlling the Qin clan. They must have planned this from the start." "Sent to the City Lord Manor?" A cold light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. Back then, although that uncle of his wasn't a good person, this was still a matter of the Qin clan. Also, with Qin Mu present, he didn't have the qualifications to interfere in the matters of the Qin clan. But who would have thought that things would develop to such an ending? Yes, send her to the City Lord Manor as a companion. Qin Feng's eyes were like those of a wild beast, filled with a wild and untamed aura. Just as they were speaking, more and more people from the Qin clan arrived. Among them was Qin Mu's uncle, Qin Xiao. These people directly surrounded Qin Wentian and Qin Wentian. Qin Zhao's countenance was cold as he stared at Qin Wentian. "Qin Feng, back then I told you to find a good master, and focus on your cultivation. Yet, you didn't listen and ran amok, wasting the cultivation resources of my Qin clan. Now this person is even more brazen and rude, daring to cause trouble in my Qin clan. Big brother Qin has nothing to do with this matter. Don't drag him into this." Qin Feng straightened his body, standing in front of Qin Wentian. Staring at his skinny frame, Qin Wentian had an indescribable feeling in his heart. It's already too late. Qin Zhao's countenance was ice-cold as killing intent flashed in his eyes. "Interfering in the matters of my Qin clan, and injuring people of my Qin clan. Your crime is punishable by death. How can you all be like this?" Qin Feng roared in rage, only to see Qin Wentian placing his hand on his shoulder as he spoke to Qin Feng. "Qin Feng, are you willing to take me as your master?" You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.